6 nights ago, the Blues were raging hot favourites, but wilted under intense pressure. The blowtorch was applied, the hunters became the hunted, and Carlton copped a mouthful from Milne.
Look at the celebration!
Today, the Blues return to Etihad Stadium against the bolters of the competition. The Crows are travelling smoothly.
What a day for Adelaide. Champagne at the footy, caviar at the races.
Ruthless in defence and machine-like in the midfield. They're going to give Carlton's renowned on-ballers another searching test. Can Carlton withstand the pressure?
Adelaide Crows riding on the crest of a wave. Out they come. Scott Thompson with the footy. Generally has got the footy in Crows matches. This is before the game, of course. They won their last 4. Out they come. Big winners over the Cats by 50 points last week. Here come the Blues. They've won 2 of their last 4. Hiccup last Monday. Lost to the Saints. Anxious to bounce back this afternoon. Some discussion about Chris Judd, their best player in that loss. 29 possessions. They say he's got the flu. Chris Yarran, he's missed the last 3. He's been named as the sub today. You can see him in the foreground there. Something of a surprise. Pick him, but don't play him, at least initially. So both sides out on the ground. As we take a look at the Carlton lineup, they've made 2 changes. Yarran and Thornton come in, replacing Joseph and Waite. Waite is injured.
Andrew Walker on screen there. He is a gun forward midfield type player. I would have liked to have seen him actually shifted into the midfield a little bit earlier on Monday night against the Saints. He is capable of breaking the lines. There's no doubt about that. He's been back now for a couple of weeks, so he's cherry ripe to really explode this afternoon. Heath Scotland, he's their most important architect across half back. Starts on the wing and then moves into the back half. A great rebound player for Carlton. He needs to get plenty of touches this afternoon as well. There's
Sam Jacobs, Tim, has been just so good. Warren Treadray during the week thought that he was just about the most important player at the Crows right now. Of course, he played at the Blues and has been with Adelaide for a couple of years, but nobody's been doing better in hit-outs to advantage than Jacobs this year in the whole competition. So, big day for him. A couple of changes. Vince, good to have him back. Lynch comes in as the sub. Of course, Tex Walker not playing today, and Young Lyons has gone back to the SANFL after being subbed for a couple of matches.
Umpire McInerney, opening bounce, good crowd too. Cool day outside. Jacobs, in stellar form last week, finds a lot of the football, hooked it down. Dangerfield and Judd, that should be good. Dangerfield can't get out of there. Judd getting a piggyback. It comes eventually to Vince. Good to see him back. Jams it on the boot. Henderson goes across and takes a very good mark. He is getting better and better, Henderson. Comes back to Armfield. Armfield squares it. Jamison down the ground. Hampson is breaking. Comes in his direction. He's got it right at the interchange gates. Now where will he go? Looks towards half forward. Kicks to the 50. Cruiser won't fly. Well, does belatedly. Off hands, it fell in front. Dangerfield. Van Berlo, well played. Doughty.
Did play it well, Dennison. Now Doughty kicked to centre wing and Jenkins. So Jenkins in his second game, he moved so well against the Cats last week. So one big guy to another. Tippett up the ground. Such a competitive beast as Tippett. That awkward kicking style, looking for Jacobs and Hampson. I reckon Jacobs and Hampson, they must know each other so well, along with Cruiser, with the time spent at the Blues for Jacobs.
I like what Ratton's done too. He's shifted Cruiser forward. I reckon he'll be able to straighten them up, Matthew Cruiser.
Of course, they're missing Jared Waite. We talked about that. Adelaide missing Taylor. Tex Walker, who's here today, he was down in the rooms before the match. It's a laid-back sort of guy. So Thompson hurled up, just gets the handball. Van Berlo, 3 Carlton players around him, including their captain. So the 2 skippers come together there.
And Robinson, interestingly, has gone. He's playing a defensive forward role on Riley. We know that Riley was so good against Geelong last week as that free player.
Jacobs did well, got it down. Dangerfield touching the ball a lot, couldn't do much there. Goes again. Gibbs was on the ground. Here's Murphy onto the loose ball. Scotland sold into trouble. Gibbs did well, accommodates him and sends a high ball down towards half forward. Cruiser missed it. Needs to mark those, as we said at the outset. Walker played it on towards half forward and Betts. Betts swings around, goes inside the forward 50. Goal coming up. Simpson. Easy as you like. Blues on the board.
Well, keeps this remarkable run going, doesn't he, Simpson, of not having missed a match for such a long time. It's up to 152. He's a great player. Just slightly the fifth Beatle in some ways, or the man we don't talk about quite as much, but he's had a fair bit of attention this year.
Vastly underrated.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're that underrated, you become overrated, but
That's
not him.
Well, this is what you really fear when you play against Carlton. That is them getting out into the open. You saw that Walker had a possession higher up, and then Betts getting involved. And Kirky, you've had a good look at Bryce Gibbs. What's he doing this afternoon?
Looks like Gibbs is going to Dangerfield early. They'll play against each other. Thompson was on Judd. No one on Simpson, so he's got hard early and kicked that quick one.
So Thompson got the ball out. Is that a throw? Against Callanan.
Throw.
So the Blues, with that goal to Simpson, 152 consecutive games. Now, the way players are being rested these days, that's not Jimmy Stein's 244, but it'll take some beating. That's a beautiful kick from the back half from Jamison to Betts. So they wanted 50. Betts.
That's a great sign, though, for Carlton. Betts and also Garlick getting an early touch.
He's up and about, Betts. He's just kicked 3 goals in the last 3 matches he's played, Betts. So he's just been down fractionally. So Walker on the left gets it smothered. Sloan and Walker. Sloan got to push in the back. He'll get a free.
Struggling to get their hands on the ball at the moment, Adelaide.
Gee, okay, I thought it was Sloan's free kick, so it was a throw, was it? So free to the Blues, and that's Walker bang forward. Clever mark. Simpson again, is it?
Been busy early, Walker, hasn't he? Playing as that push up the ground midfield type play. That's a really good use of your body there by Simpson. And Kirky's right. One of the things that St Kilda had to do at quarter time last Monday night was send Farron Ray to Simpson, cut him out. I think he had 8 to quarter time. Ended up with 14 or 16 by the end of the game. So it really slowed his possession rate. He gets out, this bloke. He's a hard runner into the space.
Yeah, he only got 8 in the last 3 quarters there, Tim. So can he kick the second goal today? He does. So Simpson's got the first 2, and so the Blues.
Singing his praises again. He's just been a terrific player over the journey, hasn't he? Cade Simpson. And his kicking is probably his strongest point, along with his courage. Look at that body. He's not going to knock too many people around, but somehow he manages, durable and talented.
Blues are off to a flyer. The last couple of weeks, Carlton have been questioned for their lack of aggression. Already in this game, tackles are 6-0 and contested possession is 8-2. So Carlton really looking to make a statement early.
Blues by 12 points. Thanks, Brett. Jacobs decisively. That was brilliant. Got it down, but Judd, the beneficiary, as it turns out, slips it back to Scotland. Scotland swings it out wide. Walker's got the run of it, closing down on him and taking him to the ground was the defender, but he needed help, Smith. Etihad comes away. Not a good kick. Sloan gets back. He was brilliant early last week. 7 possessions in the opening 15 minutes. He was running riot on the wing. Not a good kick, though. Awkward half volley. Porplecia with the outside of the boot. Missed by Van Berlo. Everything going wrong for the Crows at the moment. Tried to knock the ball. Goldwood was Thornton. In goes Rutten. That's a big body to get your arms around. Carlton managed it. Little 1-2 there. Sloan to Doughty to Vince. He kicks it towards the outer side wing. In trouble, Henderson. Taken down by John Cock. John Cock wins a free. That's better. Adelaide need to settle. Long ball. Dangerous time for Jamison.
The shoulder.
Heard the call from the umpire. Late whistle. But he's made the call and Tippett will get the free.
Just here. Come over the shoulder. Yep.
He must love that, though, Tippett. As soon as they recognised that he had the one-on-one, he was inside 50. This is the first time Adelaide actually gone inside 50. And then just too much body attention there from Jamison. Correct decision.
Huge responsibility on him today. 15 goals for the season, including his best of 4 against GWS in round 4. Puts him 8 behind Taylor Walker, who's doing a Ron Burgundy today and walking it off somewhere in Adelaide. Here's the kick from Tippett. Walker's been hot. Tippett has to fill the void. This kick is out to the right. Got to take your chances. Behind. First score for the Crows.
He's got a good record here, Tippett. He missed that. He's 11-10 set shots this year, but he's played 12 games at this venue and kicked 34 goals. That's close to 3 a match, much higher than his career average. So he's done really well on this ground. Short to Etihad. What a game Etihad played the other night. Coming on and kicking 3 as the sub. That's a bit of a wayward kick, but Jamison had time, and then Jamison, his first kick was an absolute bullet to Betts, and that one to Garlett's very good, and then Garlett's even better to Russell. Ex-South Australian, of course. Sloan to come in. That's great hands by Dygan. Judd just had a little slip up, but he'll go with the handball over the top. Tui running hard and now being harassed by Smith. That's a good tackle. A terrific tackle.
Great tackle. Kirky, what have you noticed?
Robinson's you just mentioned the Robinson-Riley matchup. He actually came to the bench with him, so it's going to be a hard tag. I really like that matchup because Robinson leads up the ball. It'll make Riley accountable.
What a splendid mark by Dygan. Under real pressure, Sloan had the run. Couldn't get the ball out of there. Jenkins takes the mark. Plays on quickly to Wright. Wright comes out towards the interchange gates and goes out of bounds.
He actually chose the right option then, as silly as that may sound, to kick the ball at right angles like he did, but there was nothing on downfield for him then, so it was an intelligent kick. He just didn't execute it very well.
Tippett rucking. Wins it down. Poor Pleasure. Van Berlo down towards half forward. Jamison decided to keep it in. Jamison, well done. Like walking a tightrope. He kicks it beyond the wing. Simpson with 2 goals to his name already on the up to Robinson. Into open space. Henderson's got a job. Played it brilliantly. Awkward bounce for Tippett. Lets Scotland in. Tries to back out of the pack. The boots are in there. Didn't get the footy though. Hand pass comes from poor Pleasure to Sloan. Hard ball, one across half back. Well done by Adelaide. Dangerfield goes long towards the pocket, but it bounces out of bounds.
She got a handball by the Crows in the heart of the centre square there a moment ago.
That was a great handball, such an attacking handball, and the penetration that Dangerfield gets, I mean, he's one of those players that can just run through the lines. Here's that handball again. That was just magnificent once they got out.
So Jacobs won the tap, I should say. Dangerfield almost. Cruiser, well done. Judd burrowing in hard, trying to get the ball out now. Johncock over the top. Dangerfield brilliantly out, and yes, he does. He's a gun. They come along every now and then, Dennis, and you pay good money to see them play, don't you? I mean, he ain't pretty, but oh God, he's good.
There's a lot of Judd about Dangerfield when you look at him, isn't there? He's in every pack, he's working hard, and sometimes he scrambles the ball out of there, but he gets the ball.
And he breaks the line, a bit like when Judd was at West Coast in those early days. I mean, that's where he's at.
Yeah, he's a bit of a hybrid between the two Judds.
Well, this is what just about makes him untaggable. The fact that he gets inside and he works in the contest. His contested possessions are 15-13. He's averaging 28 in the last month, so he's in super form.
Tippett giving Jacobs a spell. With the call, Thompson's kick didn't go the 15. Walker feeds it back. Dygan feeds it wide. Armfield sends it down towards half forward. Bowers on the ground. Awkward bounce. Leading back is Henderson. He's going to be a good player, Henderson. Looks towards the middle. Poor Pleasure takes them up. Runners outside. Wide is Sloan. He can run under the footy. You can see in the foreground there Van Berlo running as well. Could have been used. The long kick goes down towards full forward. Just off target. Suddenly they found their range. By that I mean they're in the game now, Adelaide.
What a great kick then, Dennis, by Henderson, just to put them into an attacking mode.
Gutsy kick.
And his pace was interesting there, Henderson, too. He just ran away from a quick opponent. So McKay, Dangerfield, it's a good kick. So Adelaide's last 5 minutes have been revealing, hasn't it? I mean, Carlton got the quick start.
Averaging 7 inside 50s, Dangerfield. He is so impressive and so dangerous when he gets into their forward half.
So Callanan, well, we saw Pods play his 50th game the other day. Well, Callanan's 29 and he's playing his 10th match as Judd's coming from the ground. His 10th match as a 29-year-old Callanan. I mean, isn't it great that we're seeing these mature age blokes get an opportunity? He's a pretty good kick, Callanan. That's a goal. Can you believe it? Adelaide are in front.
They can.
He's got the smarts, Callan, and he's with a very successful Central Districts team. They've had the most remarkable run in Adelaide. They didn't win it last year, but I think they won 10 out of 12, and he was part of 4 of those premierships, Callanan. He's got a really smart football IQ, and he pulled his bicep basically at the start of last year and then did his hamstring down at Geelong, but he's been good this year, really good.
Just lounging around, eh? That's the way to do it at the footy. Callanan.
Kirk,
4 premierships at Central. Sorry, Tim.
Sorry, just Kirk, you've been keeping an eye on Murphy. Who's gone to him?
Van Berlo's gone to Murphy, Tim. And Van Berlo's got a massive work rate, really disciplined, really a team player. So at the moment, Murphy's only had 1 touch. It's going to make him really hard for him today.
Etihad's got the footy. Younger man than Callanan. He drives it inside the forward 50. Judd! How about that? Sometimes has trouble getting those arms above his head. As a junior, they tell me he was a wonderful mark, but of course, by the time he was drafted, had surgery on both shoulders.
Even then, his arms really didn't go straight up in the air, did they?
Not really. Gee, you find fault. Here's Judd coming in from 40, and he's missed. I was just thinking over the weekend, Tim, about Pods playing his 50th on Friday night. I know it's not this game, but you played your 50th just past your 18th birthday. Pods, 29?
Yep. Is he 30 plus?
Is he 30 plus? I knew it was outrageous.
No.
Oh, they're out.
So they're kicking the ball well, the Crows. Callanan, Mackay. So Mackay with a long ball. Look at this to Vince, and got him. And then bang, they've kicked 3 in a hurry. Their field kicking has just penetrated. It has been quick, long and accurate, but they've been kicking to a bloke running at full pace, and they've covered the line so quickly. They've been able to break the line and then go bang forward. It's been a really interesting response here by Adelaide, because Carlton got the best start possible. They kicked 2 goals and they were winning all the tackles and the contested positions.
Just look at the running here from Bernie Vince. He's run right from the midfield, right down there to become that option. That is just terrific work rate.
Play restarts then. Cruiser with his left hand directs it to his own feet. Thompson to Van Berlo. Adelaide win it out of the centre again. Scotland was up. Etihad was there as well. Between the pair, they spilled it. Adelaide come in pretty strongly, but in the back. They're pouncing on everything at the moment. Etihad under Thompson. Etihad drives it down towards left half forward then. Big leap. Premature leap there from Robinson. Judd again. A couple of marks. Pack marks as he goes inside the forward pocket. Dowdy got a first on it. Robinson came to the pack hard. It spills to Vince, an acquirer of possessions. Judd goes back and takes another one. Clean as you like that time. Scotland sold into trouble. He was slow to leave. Etihad went to ground. Swooping on the football is Judd. Goes inside the forward 50. From behind, fisted away by Adelaide. Garlett roves the pack. And with the new boots, charmed boots, he bounces it through.
How good's Judd's last 2 minutes of football been? Extraordinary. Here is another high leap from Judd. And then going back with the fly of the ball, and that quick delivery back inside their attacking 50, that put the Adelaide defenders under all sorts of pressure. That's a great tackle there by John Cock, but then the follow-up again from Judd, just a long, deep, penetrating kick. And this is what Garlett does so well, just camps himself at the base of that pack, and that's an opportunist goal. Beautiful finish from a little fella.
Judd had taken 1 contested mark this year. He's taken 2 in the last 2 minutes, and Garlett told us at the start of the day that he wanted to kick a goal or 2 in those boots. Well, that was an absolute beauty. Gibbs held up. And it'll be a ball
As soon as
up.
he took possession.
Riley's yet to have a touch. Kirky touched on it earlier, the fact that Robinson had gone to him and tagged him. So they've cut that part of their game away from them, Carlton, but it's been their midfield that has been really impressive, Adelaide, so far.
Gee, Jacobs so good with the tap. Again to Dangerfield. Yench, Garlett with him. Yench back. Here is Riley. That wasn't clean. In hard Ellard. That ball hasn't come out. Ball up.
Not sure I'd like Robinson to go to me. He's done that job on Dustin Fletcher at Essendon a couple of times, Dennis, and he's just driven him to distraction throughout the course of the game. There he is. He plays really tight, in your face.
So Jacobs again wins the tap. Thompson, Bauer, gets something on that Bauer. That was a good kick in the end because Thornton was quick as off the mark. Thornton hardly kicked a goal for about 8 seasons, and then they swung him forward. I think it was in Queensland about 2 or 3 years ago, and he kicked 4 goals against somebody. It must have been Brisbane, I think, and might have been one of those Gold Coast games before the Gold Coast got here. And anyway, he's been a swing man for the last couple of years, and every now and then he kicks 3 or 4. I think he had 1 goal after about, I don't know, 100 games or something, 140 games. But Josh will know. I'm sure you'll get it in a moment, Dennis, or I'll get it. But here he is. 45 metres out, and he's got it. So the Blues are back in front.
He's a valuable player. I mean, he can play at both ends. He's not a regular player now. He needs an injury or two to force his way in, and obviously that's an incentive as well. When he gets the chance, he needs to fire up. He's a dangerous player. Nice mix, can play tall, and he's agile as well. So the lead is back for the Blues. They're up by 5 points midway through the term.
1 goal his first 117, Den, so there you go.
When he gets his chance, he's got to take it now. Thornton on the forward line. Jack of all trades. Judd strong with the will, getting the Blues back in after Dangerfield set the pattern for Adelaide. Across half back, over the football is Gibbs. On top of him is Sloane. And the umpire will ball it up.
She's become a good player, Sloane, too. Last month, averaging 27 touches, 13 and 13 for contested and uncontested. Just one of those really well-balanced midfielders.
He, more than any other player last week, really set the tempo early. Tippett wins a free kick at the bounce. Pretty open square, goes long towards it. Jenkins goes up there with Henderson. The ball rolls out of bounds. Jenkins did some good things last week. He was listed as well with Carlton.
Bendigo Bombers, they liked him, the Adelaide recruiters are very keen to get hold of him, and they did at the end of last year. Gibbs hurled up again, and a ball up. The spotlight goes on players, doesn't it? And it was on Bryce Gibbs early this week. I mean, he's been sailing along, having a beautiful career, and suddenly finds himself in the paper for the wrong reasons. It's a harsh game, isn't it? High standards are set. Gee, McKay did well there. He was so good there.
And it was Simpson that crashed into him. Kirky, you've been watching Simpson. Since he kicked those 2 goals, have Adelaide changed the way that they've been playing on him?
Not really. McKay has gone to him. The young fella's got the ball now. He's not playing him in a hard tag close to him, but he's working him the other way. So I think Adelaide's taking control of the game, so Simpson's not getting that forward running ball.
Now, McKay's a beautiful field kick. He doesn't have a lot of shots for goal. Continuity's the key with him. When he gets 6-8 matches behind him, he can play some really good football. He's had a lot of injuries. That's coming back. That's a good kick. The lead has changed hands 4 times, I reckon, in the opening term. Good game, Dennis.
It started very well, and I think we thought this coming in, they'd be scoring at both ends, and that's what's happening. Both sides having their moments. Point the difference, 6.5 minutes out from quarter time. The loneliness of a long-distance cyclist. Chris Yarran he's got the leader's green jersey.
Great finish by McKay. We've got a shot at Dangerfield there. Last week, really slow to start. Taylor Hunt put a lot of work into him. Tonight, Carlton aren't tagging him, so he's got a lot of the ball. He's had 6 early. He's one they've got to keep a close eye on.
Rucks go at it again. It's one down by Hampson. Van Berlo a half chance. Gets it back to Jacobs. Chopped out, though, by Scotland. To Ellard, to Gibbs. Goes wider. Russell's in trouble. Tackled by Wright. Wright, the little guy, took him to the ground. In goes Vince.
He's in trouble.
Holding the ball.
That's a real win for Adelaide there because Carlton looked like they were out too. They got the ball on the outside. Great pressure.
Wasn't that aggressive. They both came at him, taking no prisoners. Well, they took one actually, but you know what I mean. Ball inside the 50, and it's going to be another free kick to Adelaide.
He's just on top of his shoulder.
Let's go to John Cock. Umpire Farmer just 10 metres away.
He can't be on his shoulder.
He'll be right.
It was his left arm that was actually resting on his shoulder. The umpire was in perfect position. He was on that left side of the contest.
That'll do it, won't it?
Every time. Clearance is now 9-5. Adelaide on top. They're the #1 clearance side in the competition. And at this early stage, they're getting the job done against the Blues.
Scores going with centre square takeaways virtually so far in the game. Now the veteran, Graham John Cock, hits the post about 2/3 of the way up. So the margin at 2 points, 27 plays, 25 with Etihad.
Stiffy was stiff, eh? John Cock from about 35 metres, so Crows by a couple of points in a high standard, a high scoring opening quarter.
I like him forward too, Bruce. He's got the ability just to sniff the ball out, hasn't he, John Cock?
He was good last week. He got a standing ovation.
He was the leading goal kicker at the club 8-9 seasons ago. Not a whole heap, I think, in the 30s, but he's smart around the goals. Here's Etihad. Good tackle again, Dangerfield. And then Rutten and Murphy into him and Cruiser. Well, he's in good company at least, Rutten, with a couple of #1s all over him, eh?
Why wasn't the other one incorrect disposal, though? Adelaide.
I'm with you, Tim.
So Murphy kicks to about 50. Thornton again. So lovely mark from the front. He's a floater, Thornton, isn't he? And that's a good kick.
That was a beautiful kick.
And Thornton has been important early, and now Gibbs with a chance to make a statement early with a goal.
One arm's on the ball, right? The other arm is he must make an attempt. He must make an attempt. Bernie, I'm not seeing a genuine attempt.
Look at that tackle. He had plenty of time to get rid of the ball there. Ellard, that is incorrect disposal.
He's missed his only couple of set shots. In fact, one of them was against the Saints late in the match on Monday night. And there you go. For such a beautiful kick, he's 0-3 for set shots this year. I mean, he's a superb field kick, isn't he?
Most unlikely. Still, it'll come back. Didn't mean the footy on that occasion, although it nearly was coming back. Dangerfield's got it. I'm sure Gibbs will get his touch back. And Burlow straight up the middle. Sloan in best position. Takes the mark. He's 55 metres out. Man on the mark is down. He's trying to bounce it through. That's ambitious. Could have laid it out wider to John Cock. Elected not to.
They didn't go outside the corridor then, Adelaide. Right up the guts.
Boundary throw in beside the behind post. Tippett trying to work in front and does. Reaching over the top. Cruiser. Tippett kept going. Off his hands comes to Van Burlow. Tackled by Cruiser. In goes Thompson. Tackled by Curnow. Taken to ground, and we'll have a ball up. A bounce about 25 metres out. Dangerous spot for Carlton.
See Curnow there on Thompson, just trying to quell his influence on the game.
So Tippett gets up. Cruiser probably got a hand on it as well. Dangerfield again, and that one behind. So
he's like Superman, this bloke, at the moment, isn't he?
Kirky, I'm too old to read the screen. What have you got his numbers, Dangerfield? They must be big, are they?
Yeah, he's had 8 touches already, 50% contested, a couple of clearances and a couple of tackles, kicked a goal. He's having a great start.
Jamison drives it in then. Two players who were going to contest the ball both fell over. Henderson and Wright. Wright got up quicker, got the ball, got it across to Doughty to Yench. Yench inside the forward 50. Sloan lurking, stayed out of the contest. Tippett almost took the mark. This is Callanan. Tries to break a tackle, couldn't. Poor Pleasure took the hand pass. Scotland in trouble. Taken down by John Cock. Sloan tries to flick it across to Callanan. Did he have the ball? Jenkins missed it. Now they're sitting on Jenkins. And we'll have a ball up right on the kickoff line. Well, he took a swing at it, did the former young Bomber. Now a Crow. Didn't get boot to ball. And 3 Blues swamped him.
Good signs for the Blues, though. They are as eager as Adelaide in the contested footy. Paul Pleasure in there. And again, Blues everywhere. Look at those numbers around him. And a ball up. It's been a great first quarter, hasn't it?
Been outstanding. Look at the contested possessions, 30 Adelaide, 28 the Blues. So To win this game, you're going to have to work hard inside, as we see Sanderson just heading down to the boundary line.
Tippett was the highest. Thompson got a kick. Tippett got a bit on that, and that's a behind. So Adelaide by 3 points. Brett Kirk will be talking to Sando at quarter time. So a couple of behinds to Tippett. One he probably should have kicked earlier.
Cruiser yet to have a touch.
Tui to bring it in. They need Matthew Cruiser. Tui to the pocket. High ball outside the defensive 50. Jacobs, up he goes. Couldn't complete the mark. Garlick cruising past. Didn't show much interest about coming back and getting it. And the ball goes out of bounds.
Every Adelaide player at that kicking pushed up into their half. So the big forward presses on for Adelaide.
Jacobs and Cruiser. Cruiser taps it down. Taken by Etihad. Did well. Kept the ball going Carlton's way. Gibbs, Murphy. Bounces one up towards the wing. Betts got there quickly. Couldn't control it. It goes out of bounds. Interesting with Jacobs. Sam Jacobs back in South Australia now. Former Blue. He's averaging 25. 15. I should handle his PR. 15 possessions a game. He finds a lot of the footy.
He's been terrific, hasn't he? So Armfield from Judd and a boundary throw in.
So what Carlton are trying to do, they're trying to open up the field and open up that stoppage to allow some of their players not to operate with so many players. So their forwards are coming up the ground and then going back again. You see there's their 5 forwards now have all pushed back inside their attacking 50, Carlton.
So Jenkins doing the ruck. Cruiser wins the tap. Porplesia held up. So Porplesia playing a lot of this match in the midfield. Dangerfield to Sloan. Terrific stuff by Dygan. Nord boy, Dygan. Unbeaten this year, the Redlegs, under Nathan Bassett.
Bassett.
Somebody wants to get their hands on Bassett as an assistant coach in the AFL, I think. Porplesia. Then Jenkins belts the ball out. Well done by John Cock. Little give to Tippett. Dangerfield just scrambles it forward. Jamieson, well, that was looked a bit deliberate, to be honest. I just fumbled it over. I'm a fumbler.
Interesting story about Nathan Bassett. He sent me his boots that he took 22 marks in. Didn't mark him with his boots, but against Collingwood. They're going to be worth something on eBay if he keeps going, Bruce.
Have you still got them?
Yeah, they're hanging in the den as the ball goes out of bounds.
They're getting more valuable by the red leg win, I think.
That's right. What do you think when boots arrive in the mail? That's terrific.
You're going to wear them on your walk back to Perth tonight?
That'd be a bit tight. That'd be a bit tight, yeah. That's a sore point in more ways than one. It's knocked down. Jacobs. They cancelled the flight, Tim. Ball comes across to Porplesia. Worst places to be than Melbourne, though. Here's Callanan. 55 metres out, down towards full forward. This ball could break to the left. No, it runs on true. Getting back is Armfield. Great shepherd Jamieson. Now Armfield's away. The clock inside the last minute. Jamieson is clocking a personal best as he runs around the outer side. Kicks to the wing. Carlton need the football. Otherwise it could go back the other way. The man who got the opening 2 goals did brilliantly. Simpson to Robinson to Judd. Judd in midfield. Long ball. We're down to 36 seconds. Going back. Garlick! He won it one-on-one.
Good play by Robinson.
Gee, they executed when they needed to. Not that they were aware that the clock was deep into the quarter, but it was all clean, wasn't it? Right the length of the ground. So Garlett going at his second here. Back him to kick it. He does. So Carlton are back in front. On the siren. Quarter time on a Sunday afternoon. And this has been terrific. End-to-end stuff. So much excitement. So many highlights. And Carlton, who started quickly, then really had to repel borders as Adelaide came on strong. Carlton finished on top. Up by 3. Stick around.
Sides average over 80 touches a game, so that gives you an indication of this game has been really congested, and I think that's going to suit the way that Adelaide play inside.
Brent Whiteley was a star last week. Geelong didn't man him up. Hasn't seen much of the footy. Virtually nothing as Jacobs knocks it down behind. Van Berlo touched off the boot, runs it down towards half forward. Jenkins approaching from one direction. Sloane goes off the ground inside the 50. Almost an inadvertent soccer there from Armfield, who turns around to find the footy. Found the knees of Sloane, and the ball goes out of bounds. Was it on the full? Apparently not. Boundary throw-in. Bit of a skirmish. The Rucks are there, waiting. Jacobs and Hampson again. Jacobs played with the Blues. But I think from memory 24 games, knows these players pretty well, would have trained with them all the time. Inside the centre square, Betts off the ground. Going back, Talia did well. Haven't called his name too often, but that was good work. Gave it out to Sloane.
Quick kick by Sloane to half forward, Petrenko and Armfield. And that's a good effort by Petrenko. Armfield's dash in that last quarter was important, that previous term.
And Kirky, I'm just loving the way that these Adelaide Crows are getting back into the contest.
Yeah, big fan of Sloane. Massive work rate. He's been elevated in the leadership of this group this year, so he's taken a lot of responsibility on.
Dangerfield can't get through that, and that's saying something when he can't. Scotland, well done. Sloane again. That one just, he kept it in okay. It was actually a good result in the end. Fortuitous perhaps, and Wright in the forward pocket. Now Wright goes short to Tippett. That's a lovely kick, wasn't it? They were working, not quite the phone box, but there wasn't a lot of room there. And,
well, the first kick from Sloane was an absolute beauty, as you called.
Gee, there's a divot. Had some trouble at Flemington yesterday with the track. Have a look at this.
That's a crater. He just took the weight off that ball, didn't he?
He did.
That's a place for Eddie Betts to hide.
Well, his shorts wouldn't fit in there, but he would. Big kick for Tippett. Now, he can get... We know what he can do on the set shot. He's either very good or a bit Mae Westy, isn't he? So let's see what he does here.
He goes back a long, long way.
He does. These are important kicks for him. There's a bit of the Nick Revolts about him. He needs these to go through. And so do Adelaide. You only get X number of chances. And there we go. He's missed again. So Tippett 3 shots on goal, but 2 set shots. And he hasn't got a score. I reckon that happened against Hawthorn. So here's the divot. Have a look at this. Wow. There you go.
Margin 2 points then. Jamison. Can't be the son. Where will he go? Straight down the middle, if you don't mind. Plenty of Adelaide players there, though. Talia was the last one of the group. Didn't touch it. Lurking behind, though, Henderson lays it off. Dangerfield again. Unloads inside the forward 50. Dygan got fingertips to it. Loose at the back. It's right. Trying to bounce it down towards full forward. The angle not right for him, though. Tried to align himself to the goals. Couldn't. And it goes out of bounds, so we'll have a throw-in. 32 plays 30, early going second term on his Sunday afternoon. Big crowd at Etihad. Very important game for the aspirations of both these clubs. In goes Henderson. Went to ground. Jenkins half-heartedly trying to get it out. Thompson on his knees and crawling towards the boundary is Scotland. Thompson in hot pursuit, and we'll have a ball up.
We know that Brenton Sanderson was at Geelong, so he's been part of what has been a really successful year, and that's what he's brought to Adelaide Crows, and that is if you're outnumbered at the ball, you get more numbers in there, you continue to outnumber the opposition at the ball, and that's exactly how their midfielders play.
Jamison, and then Curnow, and then Dangerfield in heavy traffic, which is just where he likes it, and the ball up.
Totally agree with those comments, Tim. Not only at the contest, but their quick ball movement and use of the corridor is very similar to the Geelong game plan.
But right now, Carlton, you feel like they're being a little bit outplayed, but they're in front. Adelaide have had more shots, wasted a few. Tippett, Van Berlo, he kicks the goal, VB, and the Crows back in front. That's a big blow in the Murphy battle, isn't it, for Van Berlo to get that goal. He's been able to hold Murphy up. Now suddenly Murphy's got a lot of ground to make up in that battle. He won the first clearance in this quarter, Van Berlo, from the centre. And Brenton Sanderson spoke to Kirky at quarter time about he was confident that his captain could do the job. A lot of footy to be played, but that is a real blow for Murphy. He needs to come back now.
Now you need to stay on. There's Van Berlo, the bottom right-hand corner there. Murphy gets him tight to the contest. Van Berlo just stays out a little bit deeper. And that's in the defensive part of the ground. That's where Murphy actually needs to be, behind Van Berlo as opposed to in front of him.
Hooked down by Hampson, who then lays a tackle. And the umpire will ball it up once more.
I agree with that, Tim. I think as a tagger, when you're deep forward, you can actually take a bit of a chance to kick one. And when you, as a tagger, if you do kick a goal, it's a massive win for you.
Jacobs from behind reaches over the top and wins it down into the path of Sloan. Garlett got him. Got the hand pass off though. Right back to Thompson. Now Doughty, generally good by foot, sends it down towards left half forward. Petrenko almost couldn't hang on. Tui didn't appear to have the ball. Interesting disposal there by Jordan Russell. Kick out of there by, I think it was Van Berlo again, down towards the pocket. Back goes Scotland.
Scotland with the bounce. We haven't seen that too often today. There's been so much pressure. Well played, Scotland, to Bauer. And then Bauer with a running bounce as well. So interesting here by the Blues, trying to break it up a bit. There's Russell from Gibbs. Now Cruiser hasn't been able to impose himself yet. Well done, Curnow. Simpson's on the wrong side for him, but he's so quick. Left foot to beauty to the pocket. Garlett. Well done by the Blues, coming in hard, Simpson, and a good effort by Yench in the back half for the Crows as well.
That's the first time they've found this territory in this second quarter too, Carlton, so it's been all at the other end of the ground for Adelaide.
Boundary throw in. Lockman ruck up that time. Cruiser won it behind, but straight to Sloan. McKay went to ground. Judd looks to emerge, got the arms free, goes looking for Scotland in space. Scotland's kick almost directly up in the air. I doubt it will be a mark. Umpire calls play on. Close to the boundary line, Garlett. And he's put it out of bounds on the full this time.
20-9 now, Dennis. The clearance is Adelaide's way. Now, if this was to keep going, you wouldn't think that Carlton are a chance to win this afternoon if this imbalance is maintained. 5
lead changes so far this afternoon. Yench out of defence, sends it very high towards the outer side. In front, Hampson, but it's going to be a push against Henderson. Tippett will get the free.
He's got a few frees today, Tippett, hasn't he, in the marking contest? So I think his bulk and height are a bit of a worry. Smith gets it from Tippett. Long ball forward. Porplesia, Dygan. Porplesia did pretty well. And then John Cock kept it in. Porplesia swoops on it. Dygan. Porplesia's kick though. The Blues have got the numbers. Right running. O'Callaghan running hard. And then got rid of Scotland. But okay with Bauer. And he's going to stretch Cullinan's hamstrings a bit here. And then Bauer with a floaty on the left. Walker just come off that interchange. Couldn't quite take the mark.
I've got an injury concern. Tippett, hardly moved. Could possibly his left knee is hobbling him.
Well, the whole of Adelaide's shaking right now. If that's the case, I can tell you.
Very slow to get up, wasn't he? Now in the hands of the trainers. Just behind the action. Gibbs sharks the ruck knock, kicks inside the forward 50. Rutten tracks it towards the boundary line. They started the game without Taylor Walker, the Crows, and now Tippett headed for a spell on the bench. He's moving better than he started, put it that way. It's been quite a long journey. It happened on the far side of the ground.
Just watch this again. I mean, it's a fairly innocuous sort of crunch he gets from the Carlton players, and he goes and grabs his knee straight away, so let's hope it's not too serious.
An innocuous crunch. Can you?
Look at
Dangerfield. That was terrific. Right. Now, Henderson is running in front of our commentary position. Great Shepherd too, getting across. Smith, the kick goes down towards half forward. Big leap from John Cock. Dygan under pressure. Paddles back towards the boundary line. Dygan heads for that boundary line and pulls up just inside the fence. Rick Dygan grew up barracking for these Adelaide Crows. He and his dad used to go and watch the Crows and sit in the forward pocket and watch Tony Modra. They were exciting times. Dangerfield's been exciting this afternoon too. Rodney, no relation, always argued about getting no respect. Well, Dangerfield's getting plenty.
So Tippett is still going through the process. That's
just going to run it out.
Yep, it's a massive one way or the other, of course. Scotland goes short. The Blues to set up. Now they're going to play the corridor here. Now Scotland, normally a beautiful kick. Again, a running bounce. Out very, very wide. And Murphy with Doughty now on a boundary throw. So just below the knee there, Tippett.
Got to love the way Dangerfield attacks the foot. He's come off as well. It looks like he might have copped a bit of a knee in the ribs or the kidney. He's going to be a bit sore.
See, they're the two most valuable bits of horseflesh in South Australia, Kirky, right now, Dangerfield and Tippett. Everybody's got a biro to give them to sign on. So free kick to the Blues, and the Blues fans reckon about time.
7-7 free kicks.
Well,
Move it on, play on.
Better not tell them that, Dan. They'll be disappointed. Here's Murphy off a step.
Murphy has been struggling for possession so far. Van Berlo's been terrific. Ball goes out of bounds. We'll have a boundary throw in. That's better. He'll tip it up and moving.
I reckon it might
better.
Might have been a knee on knee, Dennis. Just a direct hit. A bit like a stinger in the knee.
They could ill afford him off, that's for sure. Thompson went to ground. Van Berlo tries to wrench it out of there. Ellard had other ideas, and the umpire Farmer, comes across and will do the business at right half forward. Crows defending. You can see Van Berlo very conscious of Murphy, just tracking him across. Meantime, Cruiser wins it down. Curnow is tackled, spills wide. Ellard, 3 last week, sends it long down towards full forward. Robinson in the pack almost. Falls to Smith under pressure. Hooks it back out towards the 50. Coming up the ground is Russell, tackled in mid-air. Down he goes. Sloane's got him, and the umpire will ball it up this time.
Gee, Carlton needs some more from Cruiser, don't they? He's just had the one touch so far. He's had 3 taps, but he really has to get involved in this game. I mean, he's a bloke who can take a game by the scruff of the neck.
Gibbs, the third man up. It's been 7 minutes since the Van Berlo goal, so no score at all for either team in that period. Dygan, Porplesia, good there. Now, how can he milk this Porplesia? He's waiting for the troops to come up. Left foot, dangerous, but very good to Thompson, to Vince. Now, he's a long kick, Vince, and he keeps it low to full forward. Good contest. Henderson and Jenkins. Jenkins has got 4 to beat. He holds it up. That's a good win for the Crows. And that ball, where is it? Who's got it? And what will the umpy do?
That was wonderful by Porplesia down in front of us. He looked up. The easy one would have been to Vince in the first place, but he worked out Vince was the running player for the guy he kicked it to. He set that up while he had the football. You don't often see average players able to do that. Curnow outside the 50. Doughty stands his ground and fires it back. Henderson is coming back, and he found it like a baseball outfielder. But
it was a big win for Carlton getting that 50 metres too, because they were going to be hemmed in that part of the ground. Now they move up to the fat part of the ground where they've got so much more space to operate in. And
tip it off the ground for those few minutes. That high ball would have suited him a moment ago, wouldn't it?
I thought they called interference against the other defender, but that wasn't the case. It was 50 Carlton's way as the ball goes out towards the boundary. And again, Van Berlo has a win as he knocks it away from Murphy.
Kirky, now you've been in the situation where you've been the tagger. Van Berlo's got hold of Murphy. Now, what should Murphy be doing?
You've got to have a couple of things up your sleeve. You've got to take him through the contest. You've got to get some help from your other midfielders. They're really good at targeting Van Berlo with some physical presence, I think.
Gee, that was a good contest. Judd and Dangerfield going for the same footy. So Judd, Dangerfield, Murphy and Van Berlo all together. Quality stuff right in there in the hard trenches.
Tim, you mentioned Cruiser hasn't touched it. Either has Jacobs from Adelaide, so neither ruckman are having too much influence around the ground.
Well, both those guys need to get busy, either in the forward line for Carlton or particularly around the stoppage. That's a great tap by Hampson.
It was, and Judd was onto it. And then Jamieson gets it from Scotland, but straight to Henderson. It's been good, Henderson. So still no score for, 10 minutes?
Riley grabs it at right half back. First kick goes down towards half forward. Dygan, hard to move in front. Had it punched away by Porplesia. Opportunity for the Blues then. Hand pass comes from Scotland to Henderson. Dygan, who initiated all of that with his spoil.
Dennis, every time you look ahead of the ball, when they look like they're on the break, Carlton, Adelaide have moved so quickly to cover all the exits. Their defensive work's been outstanding.
Dygan just sets it up then, down towards half forward. Betts hit the pack hard. Not much room on that side, boundary side. Moves it forward. Ellard keeps it in. No, he doesn't. Oh, that was line ball. That really was close, but the boundary umpire was in perfect position. He was straddling the line up ahead, so the player was coming at him, but Ellard did something almost unexpected there. He controlled this ball brilliantly. Well, I think the umpire was right.
So Jacobs and Hampson, Judd and Van Berlo. Garlick, good tackle. McKay, lovely hands, and Jacobs wobbles, tip it back out there. Good spoil though by Jamieson. Jenkins, and then Jenkins, that's a lovely kick to John Cock, and well done at the back though, coming from Bauer. Gee, I'd love to have been eavesdropping on that conversation with Murphy a moment ago, wouldn't you?
Well, maybe they've been listening to Brett Kirk too. I mean, Brett Ratton obviously sending a message out there to Murphy as to what he should be doing against Van Berlo, who's just really doing a wonderful job on him.
Judd tries to get through Hampson, and then Thompson, Curnow all over the top of him, and a ball up.
This is where this game really tests you. It's not only physically being able to expend that energy, but also mentally. It's a big mental test for Murphy now. Can he get himself back in the game? It takes a lot of resilience.
I tell you what, Curnow's doing a great job on Thompson too. Thompson just the 9.
And Kirk, it's 11 minutes since any team has scored, so we're in an absolute arm wrestle here, both figuratively and literally right now. And that ball still not quite coming out. Sloane looked like he might emerge, and again a ball up.
Well, possessions are still really low too. Adelaide are at 103, Carlton are at 95. So coming into this game, these sides have both averaged around 360. So they're well down on their averages.
Knocked down by Tippett. Socket forward, not 15. Desperate trouble with Simpson. Got it out though, Gibbs. Robinson left it behind. Sloane onto the crumb then. McKay trying to get through, did pretty well. Petrenko lost it, found it again, sweeps a hand pass out wide, right on the 50, going into unexplored territory is McKay, and he takes the mark 20 metres out. That was gutsy.
That was a great kick too. Petrenko just did this extraordinary bit of play before. He didn't grab hold of the ball, he actually just tapped it to himself. He knew that the pressure was coming. It was such smart play.
Just the one possession for Petrenko. In stark contrast to last week, he found the footy and cut Corey Enright somewhat out of the game. Very much a protagonist there. Got in his head, got up against his body. McKay, meantime, kicks his second goal.
Gee, that's a bonus, isn't it? McKay with a couple of goals off the wing. Wright's kicked 2 beautiful balls inside. One to Tippett earlier from the pocket, and that was a very clever kick to McKay, who had to take a hard hit when he took the mark. And he's been good, McKay. Tim talked about his negative role in the first quarter, the fact that he went on to Simpson, held him up, and now he's matched Simpson with these 2 goals. So he gave him a 2-goal start, and now Scotland will pick him up.
Just watch this bit of play here by Petrenko. He knew that he was going to get tackled, just tapped the ball into the ground, got a little bit of space, and then cleared out with the handball and set that up. Wonderful play. And
Wright again with a great kick in board. So this is Adelaide's biggest lead so far in the match. It's only a kick and a half, and Cruiser now getting involved and going the long, hard roost to full forward. Riley and Robinson, and the tackle coming on Doughty, and a ball up.
And that's what you want to see from Matthew Cruiser, because we know that he's more than a tap ruckman. He's a bloke that can actually get around to 20-25 possessions when he gets up and rolling.
So Adelaide with an advantage in the centre clearances. They've got a pretty big advantage in the clearances overall. Jacobs taps down. There's another one. That was Thompson to Van Berlo to Riley. So Riley, a couple of disposals in the last minute or 2. Kick forward, Dangerfield. Oh, in hard, Murphy and Dangerfield crashing into one another. Murphy's really been banged up here.
Oh, wow. That might be his shoulder, it might be his rib.
I reckon it's his forearm or wrist, yeah.
I reckon it might be his rib, Dennis.
Do you think?
Yeah. Okay. Actually, both of them. Just watch this again. I mean, there's just... They both got in hard. They both got in low. I mean, it's what we want to see. 2 blokes just going for the ball, but there was just no protection for either of them around the rib cage.
Well, he's run into a battering ram, hasn't he?
Well, if you're Murphy, you know what's coming, don't you? But then again, the same applies to Dangerfield.
There's his old man, John, who was a wonderful player himself for Fitzroy, in the middle of the screen.
Do you think it's his shoulder, Tim? I mean,
I think it is the way that he was holding his arm.
And bang, the shoulder gets hit by the hip of Dangerfield almost. So almost Dangerfield's hip goes into the shoulder.
Yeah.
Which is a massive blow to the Blues. Their best and fairest last year. So he's coming from the ground as the play's about to restart.
Bounce on the outer side then. Jacobs directs it down. Thompson hurriedly out of the congestion. Floats it towards half forward. He's very good at that, Tippett. Front spot, and those arms go straight up. We were talking about Chris Judd with those shoulders. Well, Tippett, they go right the way up. Doesn't spare a centimetre reaching for that football. Cruiser had it in front, putting the body in there, Van Berlo. cruises over the top. Van Berlo nowhere to go. The footy's in there somewhere. Not his to try and dispose of, and the umpire will ball it up 35 metres out. Meanwhile, a lot of attention focused on Mark Murphy.
Absolutely. So Tippett with the tap, and Vince back. Callan couldn't quite. Scotland. Well done, Scotland, and Petrenko, and that ball bubbling around. Haven't seen much of Walker. Kick forward, not getting far enough, and reading it well.
Great pressure.
It's Jench. Kicks to centre half forward. Jenkins, Henderson, Armfield going back. Sloan in there. Gee, Adelaide's tackling is so quick, isn't it? I mean, they're smothering the Blues, giving them no time at all.
Kirky, how would Van Berlo be feeling right now? He set himself for Murphy. Murphy's off the ground. What are you thinking as a tagging player? How do you readjust?
Well, you've got to make sure you don't get ahead of yourself and go kick chasing, knowing that your opponent's off. It might be he goes to Judd or to someone who might be getting away for Carlton to keep him in that mindset.
G. Hampson made a big blue, but Jench made one too. Simpson getting through, Yaron getting ready to come on, and now Walker, we know how fast he is.
Runs to the 50, got it from Betts. Good looking kick, 2 metres out off hands across the line.
This may actually work in Carlton's favour now, because Murphy was being well held by Van Berlo. They've got to make a change. He set himself for that task. All of a sudden, Carlton will now have to change the mix of their midfield.
They've got a good sub too.
And they've got a great sub in Yaron there, as we see him just potentially warming himself up to get ready to explode out there. And we know what sort of a ball mover he is.
A tick under 7 minutes remaining in this one. Carlton getting their first score of the half. Sorry, of the quarter.
We knew. Dennis, you reckon they'll wait with Yaron? Do you reckon they'll wait till half-time with Murphy or not? Before they make the sub?
It's touch and go, isn't it? I mean, the game's on a knife's edge at the moment. If they get another goal or two, Adelaide finished that first term very strongly. If they did the same thing, you could be almost out of your depth at half-time. This is getting tougher by the minute for the Blues. Just the way they're playing. They're not matching Adelaide. Adelaide a bit too physical for them. Jacobs locks up there with Hampson, tries to direct it down to Hampson. Bounced off Curnow. Van Berlo at the second attempt advances the footy. Henderson came across on the angle, did well. Russell falling to the ground, missed the target intended for Dyken, taken by Callanan on the bounce. John Cock runs inside the 50. Under pressure though, Carlton kept at him. Armfield getting his body on him as he kicked, and the ball, as a result, skewed out of bounds.
Gee, there's contested footy even in the crowd today. I mean, it's a real battle to get hold of it.
It's tough to get a kick out there.
Scotland has been running with the ball a lot in this quarter. Running and bouncing. Long ball! What a mark by Robinson! Oh! And then down the line, see if somebody else could take one. Cruiser front spot. Garlett was coming. Gee, didn't Howe take a mark yesterday at the SCG? This is a very good mark. Up high, held it. Well done.
Just the 2 possessions, but that one, memorable.
Sorry.
She's right, Tim. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Carlton average 57 inside 50s. They've only had 17 nearing half-time. So the game's been played between the arcs.
Poor Pleasure gave it across to Thompson. Kicks it down towards half forward. John Cock feeds it back to Sloan. Sloan against the boundary line. Callanan. Almost the juggled mark. Coming across Tippett. Callanan just inside the boundary. How will it bounce? Obligingly for Vince. Vince snaps his second. How good was that? The presence of mind to smother it.
He's clever, Callanan, but Vince did so well there. I mean, Vince out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks with a broken hand. He had the Big Nab Cup final. He won the Michael Tuck medal. He'd had a few problems before that off the field. We know he's a lad, but he's come back and he's made a real contribution here in a tough game. And Dennis alluded to it. The Blues are in a very awkward position right now. That scoreboard's starting to become their enemy, isn't it?
Yep.
That was really good play there by Tippett to get the handball out. But just the way that he covered that ball, it was going to be an awkward bounce there for Bernie Vince, but he just summed it up perfectly.
So Vince 2 and McKay 2. So they've got 4 goals from those half-forward flank on midfielders. Well done, Curnow on Van Berlo. And then Sloan couldn't quite put the tackle on Etihad, who belts it to centre-half forward. Walker hasn't been able to impose himself. Oh, he ran, and now Scotland left foot and doesn't quite get there, and it's a behind. Walker normally so quick, but I can't believe how much quicker Adelaide look than they did last year.
And they've got such a thirst and desire for the contest. At the moment, they're one of the best sides in the competition at being able to work both attackingly and then defensively. I mean, their transitions this afternoon have been brilliant.
Smith missed his opportunity to mark. That could prove costly. Etihad got it from Simpson and finds Walker. Well, it was a straightforward mark for young Smith. Just on through the interchange gates. Missed it. And now a chance for Walker, who ran a long way moments ago. Very lucky.
Murphy's still downstairs too, Dennis. He hasn't reappeared, so they're trying to probably patch up that shoulder just to see whether or not they can get another maybe half an hour out of him this afternoon.
So Andrew Walker, who reinvented himself, looking at his 100th career goal. Was a midfielder, became a stationary forward in effect. And doesn't kick a good one there. It goes out of bounds in the opposite pocket on the bounce. So at least that much is good for the Blues. We've got a boundary throw in. Hard pocket to kick from for a right footer. Give you that, but didn't test the goal umpire.
Laid down by Jenkins. G. Thompson. Handball out wide's a beauty to Sloan. Sloan quickly off the mark, running with a couple of bounces and then stretching, and Patrico wasn't looking. Gets around Digan, down, back he goes to Dangerfield, who's got jets, hasn't he, the way he takes off, and that's a lovely kick forward. Well done at the back, though, by Tui. John Cox tackle okay, Judd out wide to Tui. So the Blues doing a good job of keeping up here late in the second quarter to centre wing. Very brave there to Crow.
Adelaide kick.
So Talia to get it.
Time back on.
Doesn't get a lot of the ball, Talia. In fact, I think Dennis mentioned, we hadn't mentioned about it. He did a great job on Hawkins last week. He did a really good job on Reid the week before that. He's had to be progressed in a hurry because no Davis, no Scott Stevens and no Nathan Bock. Those three key defenders dropping out in the last 2 years, one way or another.
He's old school, isn't he? Just doesn't like his man getting a touch. Tippett up, couldn't hang on. Armfield camped in front. Not the great spot to be. Van Berlo sends it through the pack. Callanan wants his left side, pulls it back towards the square. Betts gets back and takes the mark. He's been quiet too. Margin 14 points. And Carlton, who started the season so well, looking at their third loss in their last 5 unless they start to smarten up here, because this game is starting to get away from them. Adelaide look far better. Hand pass comes across from Thompson to Rutten. Dangerfield has been a catalyst, and he goes inside the 50. The mark is taken by Vince, who can kick it over a journey.
That is such intelligent ball used there by Dangerfield as well. You want a player that just keeps their head at that part of the ground under pressure, just lowers his eyes. See the Carlton doctors there. They've made a decision probably already on Murphy. They'll be coming back to report on exactly what they're going to do.
This to equal his career high. Twice before he's kicked 3 goals. Could have 3 by half-time. That is a massive kick into the crowd on the full, if you don't mind. It's gone about 65 on the fly.
So Adelaide skip away here. And Vince having a lovely, lovely little run with the 3 goals before half-time. And Adelaide have stolen a march, but we're not surprised because they've looked the better team.
Oh, much better. And, you know, you look at the clearances, 29-18, so they're still well in front there. And guys like Betts, there's just no free-flowing ball for Betts to get into the game.
Great finish by Vince. Just on the injury concern, it looks like it's going to be definitely AC joint, possible a break in the clavicle. And with Carrazzo going down a few weeks ago with his wing, this is going to put a big impact on Carlton.
Gee, so
not just today, their season too, if that's the case.
So Simpson getting it out. So Vince with these 3 goals. Last time he kicked 3 was on this ground, round 22-209. Last time Adelaide won in Melbourne. Robinson's kicked him. Van Berlo's played a half, hasn't he? He's got a huge tank, Van Berlo. I mean, he's probably their best runner at the club in terms of over any sort of distance. Long kick out wide. And Rutten takes the mark. Had an awful pre-season, Rutten. Had 2 operations pre-season. Big risk to play him in round 1, and he's worked his way into a bit of form. Doughty, he had a poor pre-season too. He had a real disaster in the NAB Cup final, Doughty, but oldest player on the list, but he's been very, very good. So Adelaide just mix it around here. Lovely kick. Jenks normally good with ball in hand. John Cock. Well, this is a clinic just for the moment.
They spread the field as anyone going around Adelaide. That was just beautiful ball movement. Opened up the middle of the ground.
Out wide to Van Berlo. Almost like a basketball team working it around. They're aware of the clock, I reckon. And they want one last shot. Mark Murphy in the rooms. Bad news for Carlton. He nailed that diagnosis though, Tim. Dr. Watson pulls in front. Scramble. And we'll have a ball up. So clock stops at 57.
This is where you want to see the Blues stand up though, Dennis. You know, lost on Monday night. Challenge right at their feet now. Lost one of their star players. When that's when you really find out what your team's made of.
Well, yeah, but it goes 2 ways. Sloan, strong tackle. Meeting the sandwich there, Scotland. 7 seconds run off the clock, and the umpire again will put it down. A lot of work happening around these packs. Judd had his kick smothered. Comes to Scotland. Armfield, despairing fling with the arm. Thompson's kick was smothered. This man's got 2 goals. McKay goes to Dangerfield, probably the best on ground. He snaps down towards the pocket. And Jenkins has taken the mark. Wow.
Kirky was right too. He said that he'd send Van Berlo to Judd. Looks like he's actually gone to Judd. What a job that.
Runs around, kicks the goal. He's put it through. It might be 40 years or so too late, but Jerker, you beauty.
Tim. He was on the Essendon list, wasn't he?
Yep. He had a strong basketball background too. I mean, he's very, very athletic, but
what about this bloke's first half?
He's been unbelievable in the first half. Dangerfield. He's up to 16 now, 6 contested possessions. He's had 4 inside 50s and 3 clearances as well, so he's been able to do it all. But Jenkins then to do something and think his way through that so clearly for an inexperienced player, I mean, that's just outstanding.
I saw Dean Bailey in the Adelaide rooms before the game. Do you remember, Melbourne beat Adelaide at the MCG last year by 16 goals. Now, how does that work out?
They've gone in different directions.
Well, that was a real gift by Jenkins. That was brilliant. So Dangerfield to 17 disposals, and Portpleasure robbing Diagon and then getting a high tackle, and now Callanan, who's been busy, and the siren, well, they were saved by the bell, the Blues, I think. They're on the ropes, they're on their back, they're looking up at the heavens because Adelaide have been magnificent.
See Petrenko going straight to Yaron there too, so they're going to try and tag him. Gibbs needs to get into the game. Simpson needs to get into the game, and Cruiser and Walker need to get into the game as well. When Yaron, I mean, great coaching by Sanderson. He's not going to have it easy out there.
No, Petrenko showed us last week. He doesn't mind any of that. Corey Enright was the man he manned up with. Petrenko right in the action. Judd, 12 possessions to half-time. The 2 leaders on the field both have 17, Dangerfield and Scotland. And we've got a ball up still inside the centre square, so Yaron won't find it easy. Maybe they can send him forward if this doesn't work out. Tough way to come into a game. Getting tagged from the outset and lacking a bit of match practice. Hasn't played for 3 weeks. Ball on the outer side, leading the race is Walker. Gets to adjust inside the line, looks down towards half forward, kicks towards the 50, getting a fist in there. Doughty, well played. McKay came hard, collected bets over the footballer's Garlett, slaps it out. Dangerfield again, brilliantly done. Bit of a fumble from Henderson. In goes Doughty. Doughty looking for a free kick, nothing doing. Opportunity for Garlett wide of the pack, bit of a fumble. That's all it takes. Talia's over the top of him. Yench there as well, and the umpire decides to ball it up, and that is a bad sight for Carlton fans. In the short term, certainly, but maybe in the long term.
So first time he's actually ever had the vest on, Murphy. What a shame for the game and for him and for the Blues. Let's hope he's back to Dangerfield again. He's just a battering ram. Armfield, clever, well, I was going to say clever kick, Russell, but Petrenko read it well. He's the sort of guy, Petrenko, he doesn't need a lot of stats, does he, to have some influence. Riley, well held in the first half, but he just started to get going. And Robinson didn't do a lot. I know he took a mark. I guess he wasn't there to try and do a lot, but you feel like if Riley gets off the leash, and now Petrenko taking it from Rutten and kicking the ball to the pocket. John Cox, it's a good kick.
So that was Yaron's man too. Petrenko had gone to Yaron, and when the ball turned over, Yaron didn't then go to Petrenko. You wonder how you'd be feeling if you're Yaron, though. You sit on the pine for the first half, you're coming on, you haven't played football for a few weeks, and immediately you're being tagged as a defender. I mean, they'll be right inside his head now.
Straight at him, mate. So John Cock, who's missed a couple today. And that's not coming back, is it? So that's a behind. So
that's great coaching, though, isn't it? I think he's thought of everything, Sanderson, today. They knew at some stage that he was going to play. They probably thought he was going to start the game this afternoon, Yaron. But he's had all the answers so far, Brent Sanderson. I mean, impressive start to his coaching career.
Yep. No doubt about that, but a nice time to set it up at half-time because they would have been aware that Murphy wasn't coming back. Here's Tui in trouble, just gets free, still going Tui. The hand pass a little untidy. Robinson now under pressure. Simpson, who started so well, has drifted out of the game. Thought of half-back, kicks just beyond the wing. Henderson got his fingertips to it. Rutten, always so solid and clever too. Not the quickest, but that's a beautiful finish as he finds Jenkins. So Jenkins, midway between centre wing and left half forward, sends it inside the forward 50. Tippett, almost the mark, runs free at the back. Robinson into the back of John Cock.
Adelaide.
And that was another factor in that second term. We mentioned Thompson, 9 possessions about midway through the term, perhaps closer to quarter, or rather half-time. But then he broke the shackles and he went to half-time with 17 possessions.
And they're just lower and harder by John Cock. And Thompson's a great example.
There goes the kick from John Cock, just sliding across the face, off hands and across the line. In fact, Thompson had 16 at halftime, so he's picked up one in this term, but really got a surge on late in the second quarter.
His numbers are remarkable, Thompson. 39, 34, 25, 27, 34, 31, 34 this year. So here's Yaron. They need a lot from him in the second half. Riley, well, took the mark. So Gibbs, 7 disposals to half-time.
Yep.
Riley to Vince. Well done by Robinson. And then right, Thompson from 40 metres goes bang. Well, they look right now as good as we've seen this year. I can't think of a better looking team than I'm seeing today, Dennis. So we saw Hawthorn early. We've seen Carlton do some great things against Collingwood. Essendon have been fantastic at times, but this is as good a team as I've seen in this sort of form this season.
Home and away, Bruce. I saw them last week and they were outstanding. You think, okay, it's at Amir Stadium. Let's see them do it on the road. Well, let's see them do it on the road the following week, and they're doing it.
Well, he's had an interesting afternoon, Riley, because he was tagged in the first half by Robinson. I mean, the kick from Yaron didn't hit its target. They tried to free Yaron up by allowing him to be the player that kicked the ball in. But Petrenko's gone to him. He's just going to worry the hell out of him.
Well, the Crows have kicked the last 6 goals. Dangerfield nabbed there by Judd. A lot of strength from both those players. Eventually, Dangerfield got his arms free. Judd's hand pass there, not so flash. Vince onto the loose ball in a flash. Down towards full forward. Jacobs stumbles. John Cock, Jacobs, and the ball taken by the big guy across the boundary line.
Very good one-on-one player, Jamison, isn't he? He always collects the body at the right time. He's extremely difficult to get away from.
This has got embarrassing potential for the Blues. Cruiser has found Jacobs a handful. Jacobs decisively to the back of the pack, right onto the loose ball. A hand pass untidy. Smith paddles it outside his own forward 50. Hampson did okay. Smith came again. Interesting. Give me that. No. Smith won that battle. Kick from O'Reilly, or rather Riley down towards full forward. Off hands. Tui dives after it. Tries to get it out. Will sort of. Thompson gets to his feet. Thompson. That's hard to do. And the umpire will ball it up.
Gee, was good there, Thompson.
You called it there, Tim. Robinson's been injected in the midfield to give him some hardness, but now it's allowed Riley off the chain. He's already got some quick early disposals.
So Adelaide really smothering Carlton here. Just thinking of Adelaide versus Essendon. Vince, if I was Don King, that'd be my next ticket. Van Berlo, good tackle by Cruiser. And a ball up.
Just keeping an eye on the clearances. I mean, 34-22, Adelaide the best in the business, and they are just smashing the Blues around the contest again.
Tim, we saw a game Friday night where Geelong were able to reverse it in the second half. Those clearances against Collingwood have got them back in the game. That's what Carlton have got to do now. So hard to do. Belt it away. Quick kick by Porplesia, running away from Petrenko. And a boundary throw. Just to think, the last time Adelaide played here, Tim, Neil Craig lost his job against St Kilda. It's the last time they'd played on this ground. I mean, so much has happened to this team in such a short time.
Don't think that's going to happen to Sando today.
No, not today. It will happen, though.
Carlton, death and taxes and coaching.
How bad they were that night at Etihad against the Saints.
Yeah.
Shouldn't even joke about that, but invariably, that's the way it works. Appointed to be sacked him. There's the bounce. John Cock, clean possession. Scrambles it down towards the pocket. Back goes Jamison. Jamison to Armfield. Scotland against the boundary line. Gets it out of the 50. Sloan. He's a fearless young player, Sloan. Running back with a flight of it. Took the mark. Spots Doughty. Doughty's got it. They're putting on a clinic, Adelaide. Dominating play. And now it's going to be 50. Thornton, clumsy. Certainly no intent there, but just wasn't thinking straight. You can almost run into anyone in that situation except the bloke with a footy. Point blank range. Oh, and Doughty's missed, has he? Umpire goes a long way, and Doughty has missed. Well, that's unbelievable. Momentum suddenly comes to a jolting stop. That would have been one that pushed them over the top, I would have thought.
Dennis set shots Crows today, 5-5. So they haven't been perfect, that's for sure. They've missed a few easy ones, and that would have been just desperate stakes for the Blues, which I know they're already in, but another goal there, and we might have been reeling the coffin out for them today. So Simpson, so good early, lovely kick to Betts. Carlton need to resurrect something here. A lot of pride at stake here for the Blues. The kick to half forward. Well played by Henderson, who's gone forward. Kicked lovely, well done. And Garlett, so Doughty misses at one end. Garlett gets his third at the other. Big turnaround. Little steps, but they all help, don't they? I mean, that's a big difference in the scoreboard.
It's just careless by Doughty at the other end. He tried to kick it too hard, I think. He tried to kick it up into the top level and miscued. And that's a very good point you make, Bruce. I mean, that could be, well, if they're going to get back into it, I think we'll look back at that miss with a fair degree of enthusiasm if we're talking about a Carlton victory.
We talk about Carlton getting back into this game. They really need to take some risks. In the kicking, they went corridor side, and they just got the ball and played on really quickly. I think around the stoppages, they need to hit the ball out wide, take them on in pace.
What would have been 40 after the misses, 29. Magnificent stuff. Jacobs to Dangerfield. Dangerfield a searching kick inside the forward 50. Back goes Tui. Step for step, John Cock, and it bounces out of bounds.
Inspector Clouseau couldn't catch Dangerfield.
He won the grand final sprint last year, Tim.
Boundary throw in.
What's he doing in July? Usain Bolt might have some problems.
He's on a roll, certainly, isn't he? It's Vince. Swings around, kicking at a career high, and it bounces along the line. It appeared to go out. And the umpire in perfect position, just sitting there waiting. Made the call. Bernie Vince up and feeling the effects of a heavy bump as he kicked. Boundary throw in.
Van Berlo overran it. Bauer tries to break through. It's a good kick in the end off the side. Just feel Tim right now. I mean, Adelaide are completely on top, but they're dominating possession. But the next goal's big in this match. And
this is this is an arm wrestle right now at this stoppage.
So live and interactive, Tim. Carlton still a top 4 team. We'll think about that for a moment. Thompson pushed over. Depends on maybe, well, you tell us.
Yeah, well, if I pick up the paper tomorrow and I find out that Murphy's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, that's going to really dent their opportunities to finish in the top 4. Carazzo's still out, and he was such a valuable, important player to it.
Beautiful tap from Hampson to Gibbs. Through the centre. McKay getting back with Smith and Walker. Carlton gets some numbers around. And who's got the ball? Good umpiring decision. I don't think anyone could tell.
But that's a small win for Carlton, being able to lock the ball down like that. They've changed their forward line mix too, so they've gone for the 3 tools now. Henderson has moved from back to forward. They've got Cruiser there and Thornton trying to drag their direct opponents deep inside the 50. Another important stoppage.
Alongside the centre circles then, Hampson directs it down, taken by Gibbs. Need more from him. Walker on his knees in trouble. Curnow got it out. Armfield goes back to Dygan. Sweeps a hand pass wide to Scotland. Scotland goes down towards half forward. Smith works in front. Henderson on the forward line. Tries to knock it across to Betts. Henderson does well. That's the opposite number, Henderson. 45 for Adelaide. Now it's with Thornton. And Thornton misses to the near side.
They've just had a couple of small wins though, Dennis, haven't they? Just in the last couple of minutes, they've upped the tempo and the intensity of the way that they're going about it, Carlton. But when you do that, you actually have to put goals on the board, because that will evaporate at some stage, and you know the Crows will come.
I have an injury update. Carlton have confirmed that it is an AC joint injury to Murphy.
So what's that, Kookie? Just a couple of weeks?
It depends how bad it is. You can play with them, but yeah, you have to inject them. You're pretty sore the next day.
Well done, Curnow. Back to Hampson, and then Hampson kicks to the pocket. They've got the tools forward. We know that. Riley got back. Betts goes back to Walker. Walker's missing, I think, everything. Walker. He's been wayward today, Walker. A few shots on goal, a bit like John Cock at the other end. There's Murphy. He's only missed 1 game, Murphy, by the way, since the start of 2007. I mean, he had an injury in his first year, and really since then has played every week.
Short one comes to Van Berlo. I know he's supposed to stay in the moment, but I reckon Brenton Sanderson's thinking of one player right now. Michael Dowdy still going through his mind. Terrific mark on the outer side by Talia. This could set things to rights as Sloan runs down to right half forward. Lovely kick. Tippett's in front. Well played, Jamison, right in his hip pocket. And the ball runs out of bounds.
Great chase then by Armfield too. He took off and ran probably 80 metres to try and just put a little bit of pressure on Sloan's kick.
Well, he was Inspector Clouseau a moment ago trying to get to Dangerfield, Armfield.
Boundary throw in. It's a very sophisticated plot line we've got going. Socket forward down there by Callanan on the boot goal. Well, he gets his second goal in, Callanan.
He's an interesting player, Callanan. I mean, we see he's only a pint-sized forward pocket come midfielder, but he's a value for money. Doesn't probably need a lot of the ball, 10, 12 disposals. He's kicked, what's he kicked? He's kicked 12 goals this year in 7 games. That's a good return. They're getting more out of Callanan than Carlton are getting out of Betts today.
Such an important stoppage goal there from Adelaide. Just kept that goal face open at the stoppage. Really, there should have been some defensive Carlton players pushing up the ground just to block that space. And good finish there by Callanan. 2-5
in round 1, Callanan, and he's kicked 10 goals won since then for this season. Robinson belting forward. Walker to Betts. Now Betts inside to Judd. Can't break the tackle by Henderson. And then it comes out from Jenkins. And then Talia gets Garlett down. And a ball up. Well, I thought Judd was going to crash his way through. Thanks, Jeff. He couldn't quite. The doctor looking on, his beloved Carlton. It's taken us a while to realise how much he loves the Blues. We always thought he owned the Swans, but...
That'll confuse you, Bruce. There's the bounce. It's about 30 metres out. Over the top. Robinson knocks it down. Look at that. He tries to batter his way out. There's Thompson. Aided there by Van Berlo, who punched it wide. Callanan applies a tackle. Coming through strongly, Tippett. They're manhandling Carlton at the moment. Although that's reversed as Robinson lays a good tackle on Vince and the ball spills out of bounds.
I reckon they're getting the most resistance they've had all afternoon right now, though, Kirky.
Yep.
Gibbs, how would you get him in the game, Kirky?
Yeah, usually it's left to Judd to carry the team here and impose himself. If you're the coach, you'd be putting some heat on Gibbs and telling him to stand up today.
Doesn't always work. Away comes Dangerfield, kicks it up towards the wing, bounces obligingly, taken by Porplesia into the path of the running man. That was right, down he went. Tippett takes the hand pass though, jams it on the boot, it floats down towards half forward. Sloan kept it going Adelaide's way, back goes Bauer. Right there, step for step, John Cock applying good pressure, out of bounds, boundary throw in. That's a token.
Yep, just tit for tat, eh? That was a bit lower than that. So Hampson, right, chasing the boundary throw in. I don't think I said that, did I?
No.
So 41-75. So it's a 5.5 goal game. So the Blues facing a mammoth task here. Robinson, Van Berlo, Dangerfield. Judd so good in the first quarter. 8 disposals, couple of contested marks. Slowed up a bit since then.
Etihad to Sloan. That's slowed Sloan up a bit too.
So Jacobs and Hampson. Jacobs, Thompson squeezes the kick out. Front spot, it's Callanan again.
Robinson's gone to Thompson as well. He's a hard nut, Robinson, but I'm not sure he's too savvy around the midfield stoppages.
Callanan's kicked 3 against the Hawks this year and 3 against the Swans, so a chance to get 3 for the 3rd time this season.
Kirky, what do you mean by savvy?
Well, you need to really think your way through the stoppage. There's definitely, he's 100% hard at the footy, but Thompson's a really smart player, gets in the right spots. I think you can lose him there.
First time that Callanan's played at Etihad, first time he's ever played against the Blues, and that's a lovely kick, and he's kicked 3 goals again. And Adelaide pinch a big break now.
Gee, that's a good characteristic to have in a team, guys who can get long goals. We saw Vince earlier. And that was a beauty right there from Callanan. He simply launched that one and it kept on going. 3 goals to Callanan. Vince has got 3. McKay's got 2. So not necessarily their set forwards getting the goals, and they needed somebody to step up in the absence of Taylor Walker this afternoon, and some of those midfielders have done that. So Callanan with 3 goals. As Bruce mentioned, 4 premierships at Centrals, best on the ground in the 2010 Grand Final. Of course, everyone knows that Tony Casserly did the hard yards at Centrals. What a player he was. Out of the middle, kicked forward there by Thompson towards half forward. Sloan again, enjoying the contest, enjoying the battle, enjoying how physical this game can be. Meantime, Scotland, though, comes away across half back, sends it down towards half forward. Henderson, brilliant half volley, gives it across towards Yaron. He appears to have gone forward, Yaron now, gets the ball back from Walker, in trouble. Smith got him. Walker feeds it wide, taken by Ellard under pressure, kicks it down towards full forward. Henderson for Carlton, launches himself and takes the mark.
Mark's here.
Give Sloaney his due. Moments ago he was across half forward and got flattened, and suddenly he's in that pack in the back pocket. Now, he didn't get the ball on either occasion. He had the ball initially when he went to half forward, but got flattened and it was jarred free. He's prepared to work, giving those numbers where they need them, but on that occasion it didn't work out. Still, it will over the course of 4 quarters. That's the recipe that Adelaide have got working at the moment. Simply outnumber their opponents. Henderson, much needed goal, comes in and puts it through. But you would suggest too little, too late. They're a long way out of their ground. Henderson on the forward line has been lively in the last 10 minutes or so. He's giving a contest, and on that occasion kicking a goal. He's a much improved player. I think when people saw the results of that trade when he came to Carlton, they thought that Carlton had been on the losing end, but he is developing very, very nicely. Handy player, can do most things.
Lisa got the scoreboard ticking over. Tim, what do you think? I asked you earlier. I mean, do you feel like they're still a real contender, the Blues?
Look, without Carazzo, though, they really felt that loss, and now with Murphy, we don't know how serious that might be. I mean, they can't do it without those 2 guys. So
Ellard from Robinson. Still plenty of time in this match, one way or the other. Garlett had his eyes on it. Riley against the flow. Gang tackled. Held up. Just think this weekend, Tim, North Melbourne led by 32 points in the last quarter. Last night the Bombers led by 42. Adelaide have led by 40 in this match. So we've had a weekend where teams have been able to... I know Richmond didn't win in the end, but they could get to the front in the last quarter.
Carlton have to get their hands on the ball. They've only had 175 disposals for the game.
Thompson just got rid of Robinson, Yaron, and that's out on the full.
Well, it's extraordinary. They averaged 365, Carlton, in nearly 3/4 of football that had 176 touches. So they haven't been able to get any of their play moving or flowing at any stage. Adelaide's defensive job on them, apart from the contested stuff, has been brilliant.
Don't go forward.
Riley goes short to Jench, back to Riley. Riley into Mines, back to the goal square and Henderson. Now Henderson's away. Betts in pursuit. Henderson drives it towards the outer side. Rutten is out there, just blocked his man coming back. That was Hampson. Runs onto the loose ball, kicks the half forward. Brilliant gather by Vince across the body. Floats it, hangs a long time in the air. Portplecia couldn't hang on. After it goes Petrenko. Petrenko and Portplecia. Gibbs in there as well over the top, Russell. And that's good enough. Adelaide tie it up in their forward pocket. The umpire will bounce it.
Adelaide's small forwards look really dangerous. It was similar last week at St Kilda, that the smaller forwards, they were the ones kicking the goals.
Tippett wins the tap. Petrenko went forward. And is he going to be pinged? I think he will. No, that ball's still coming out. And there's a bit of irony in that, Kirky, because Carlton small forwards have been the talk of the town for a couple of years, haven't they? Kick forward, well done by Bauer. Jenkins running hard after him, but Bauer taking him on. Sloane filled the hole, so Bauer had to hold it up. And now Sloane getting back. Oh, nearly holds them up, but Henderson having a patch. Garlett, such a fast runner. Jench was up to him, though. Garlett's left foot. This is an important one to fall forward. Hampson's got it in a good spot. Can he get his boot to it? Rutten with him. Hampson toe pokes. Jacobs gets it away. Vince, will it sit for Bernie? It does. Adelaide dodge a little bullet over the top. Dowdy protected the ball. Well played, Dowdy. Betts came in hard. Gee, it's good stuff.
It is. Garlett had to look inside. There were 3 Carlton players. He went to the top of the square to Hampson, but there were 3 Carlton players that had drifted inside their attacking 50. They were all free.
How was Rutten? How good was Rutten? The odds were against him. Things were favouring Hampson. Almost the mark out there to Jamison. Trying to reach in Tippett. Ball released to Judd. Around the corner. Bounces obligingly for Walker. Looks back towards the middle. Gives it to Yaron. So Carlton giving a yelp. Comes across the ground. Garlett right on the 50. You'd venture to say too far out to score. Wants someone to come to him. Now goes looking for Betts. Betts misses the mark. All Adelaide to tidy up behind Dangerfield. Van Berlo. So involved down there was Henderson. Now Etihad gets it from Garlett. Goes to Scotland. Ran into 2 dead ends. Comes back towards Etihad. He's taken down by Callanan. In goes White. And the umpire is giving a free kick to the Crows too high.
I've been watching Rory Sloane the last 5 minutes. He's such a smart player, gets to the right spots, really thinks through his footy.
Dangerfield, beautiful kick to Petrenko. They've got a good midfield mix now, Kirky, haven't they? I mean, you've got the dash and you've got the hard nut. It's a group that's come out of nowhere almost in a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think last year Scotty Thompson was the lone ranger in the midfield. There's plenty of those boys have stepped up this year.
No question about that.
Now.
Good mark by Jamison. So the Blues back to the wall, just trying to hang on here. Oh, that bouncing ball. Curnow got rid of Portplecia, though. Be disappointed Portplecia couldn't stick it. And now Robinson to Bauer. So Carlton have mixed it up a bit in this quarter. Henderson's gone forward. They've had a few all over the place. Tui, the Irishman, gets the kick away to half forward. Cruiser works to the front. Right, hands were good. Back it goes to Dangerfield, to Henderson, to Talia. Gives it to Dangerfield. And then Dangerfield on the left. Well done by Robinson. The big truck gets hold of it, though. That's a lovely kick by Rutten. And Jenkins is on. What can Jerker do here?
Look at him. He's having a bounce. He's having 2 bounces. Bauer's closing. He runs to 50. Beautiful finish. Oh, wonderful. What are the Bombers thinking, Tim? Well, he did a couple of marvellous things last week. He's so athletic. I mean, the story is that he played basketball. Now he's cramped up, so that run will do it to you. He played basketball. As a result, he's got the agility and clearly has the confidence as well. This is some story now. Last week set up a couple of goals, kicked one himself from memory, and that time goes for the gallop and goes from long range.
Well, it was casual here, wasn't it?
Well, he bounced it right hand, then left hand, then goal on the run. His other goal actually was on his non-preferred boot, his left boot around the boundary line.
Well, what an extraordinary day we've seen here. Adelaide from the centre, beautiful tap by Jacobs to Thompson. How many times have broadcasters said that this year? And then Jenkins just manhandles his man and then drops it down. Good tackle on John Cock. And the Blues bring him down. McKay's in there. Adelaide are just so hard at the ball, though. I haven't seen them this hard ever.
That's been one of the more impressive things, is that every time Carlton has actually surged or looked like they're going to surge, they've been able to respond in some way.
Judd belts it out. Riley running back. Cruiser and Rutten. Gee, Rutten's had a good quarter, hasn't he?
He's been very good. Ball's out of bounds. We'll get a boundary throw. And this reminds me a bit of the transformation of the West Coast Eagles. Only difference was the coach didn't go. Same coach turned it around. Now a new coach comes in Adelaide, and they're playing the sort of football that the West Coast Eagles last season suddenly found and have become synonymous with. As the ball goes towards the outer side, Henderson, timely fist, gets it back, draws Judd to him over the top. Sloan, Kirky spoke about him. He's an emerging star, goes to the outer side, off hands and out of bounds. It's funny when your team's winning, suddenly quite a few players are emerging stars. That's the way it goes.
Dan, your man Sam Jacobs in the ruck, he's been really impressive. He's got great hands, really soft, gives his midfielders first use.
It's about the only thing he's got in common with me. Really soft. Comes down to Thompson, who's dragged down. Again, he directed it down to the big fella, though. Hand pass from Simpson. The pressure's still enormous. Well done, Curnow. They broke the shackles there. Kick towards half forward. Nice finish by Simpson. And the mark is taken by Yaron. So Yaron came on, went in defence, was virtually covered out of defence, tagged out of defence, if you like. They sent him forward. Needs to kick a goal here for Carlton to have a remote hope. Not beyond him either. Net on the mark is standing 40 from goal. He's going to the Coventry end. Kick is pretty good. It's just tailing away. Didn't miss by much, but in the final analysis, it missed.
It was Simpson that delivered the ball to him. How rare has it been this afternoon to see Simpson with some real freedom in the midfield? He's up to 12. He had 2 first quarter goals. He looked like he was going to be on fire today, but they've been able to shut him down as well.
The Saints provided the blueprint last week, didn't they? Tim, what are Cruiser's stats today?
He's had 2 touches.
Okay.
He has been quiet.
So Thompson out wide to Smith.
Didn't need that, did he?
So Smith, who's had a bit of a shaky day. He missed that mark, didn't he, earlier? Kicks the ball down the line. Sloan, good mark. How did he do that?
The guts.
Back to Thompson. How would you rank the Adelaide midfielders, Tim? You've got Thompson, Dangerfield. I should ask Kirky, actually. Today, Kirky, give us your ranking of the Adelaide midfielders maybe in the last quarter. Have a think about it.
All right.
Put them in order. So Vince Van Berlo. Well, God,
he's become a really good player.
Well, he's the captain, runner-up in the best and fairest last season. His brother played for Fremantle yesterday. There's Smith on the outer side. Goes to Sloan. Still just in his mid-20s, Nathan Van Berlo. Very bright customer academically. Armfield comes away. Sends it towards the wing. Missed there by Henderson. Lurking behind Henderson. I know it's confusing, but stay with me on this one. The 2 Hendersons. Battle close to the boundary line. Thank goodness for that. It's out of bounds.
It's a bit like the match in Adelaide yesterday with North Melbourne and Port Adelaide. Had the Eberts and the Delaney's and one other lot I can't remember, but
holding. Free kick Adelaide to hold. Nathan Van Berlo.
It's Van Berlo's free kick.
Nathan! Your free kick for Hull.
So Van Berlo's free kick.
Don't give away.
It was against Curnow, the free kick, actually.
The umpire, with an economy of effort there, could do a little better, I think, just singing out Van Berlo. You don't know whether it's his kick or he was the offending party, do you?
Or he just wants to chat.
So switches to Riley, and then Riley will go to Portplesia. So Carlton have had a crack in this quarter, and Adelaide have stood up really well. Sitting on a 6.5 goal lead before three-quarter time. Yinch just milking the clock down. It's been a very impressive first three quarters. It's been a long drought in Melbourne. They're a quarter away from what would be a big, big victory.
Final quarter. Roof is closed. Etihad Stadium. Pretty chilly Sunday afternoon in Melbourne, but everybody in Adelaide that supports the Crows feeling warm at heart. Here's Jacobs out of the middle. Kicks it down towards half forward. Bounces very high. Tui was up. Down goes Petrenko. Could have almost got a free. Petrenko battles on. Tui on top of him, and the umpire calls for it.
Brett Ratton made a really good point, didn't he, at three-quarter time with Brett Cook? Just that critical contest that Adelaide have been able to even not win clearly, but at least stop Carlton from getting away. Oh, so clever, Dangerfield, left foot. Oh, how good is this young man?
Pretty good. That's the answer, was pretty good.
You can't come up with a delicious or something better than that this afternoon. There's something wrong with you.
He can win the Brownlow, this boy.
Well, he might win the Brownlow playing like this.
This year.
What is he up to now? 29, 15 contested possessions. He's had 6 clearances and he's kicked 2 goals, 1.
I reckon right now he's the most exciting player in the competition.
I can't think of one that's probably more... Well, I mean, Buddy in full flight is probably more
fresh
exciting.
And new, new blood.
As exciting. Don't need a ruckman. Have a look at this.
Who does he remind you of, Tim? I mean, you've seen a lot of footy over there. Is anybody?
Well, there's a bit of Mark Rasciuto about him. I know that Rasciuto spoke about him glowingly this week. I mean, there are some similarities about the way they burst from the pack.
Robinson bursts from the pack, sends it down towards half forward. Cruiser, well, didn't have his hands in the right place. Hand pass comes out from Wiley, taken by Doughty, gives it to Yench, short one to Sloan. So Sloan now is up to 21 possessions. He too started quietly. Just lobs it over the top. Lynch comes up and takes the mark. They're tell me playing in defence in Adelaide for Glenelg as he goes up towards the wing. Tippett wedged between he and Jamison. They fall to the ground. Tippett underneath that. So Tippett goalless this afternoon. The league's leading goal kicker, Taylor Walker, not playing. He's out for 2 weeks. And yet, somehow, they've got this big lead. They've kicked 14 goals starting the final term.
Remarkable stuff, isn't it? Some real Vince was a bonus early. McKay was a bonus early with those goals. Callanan's chipped in with his 3. Brendan Sanderson's just got to love all that. Interesting too, Mark Thompson, Geelong at Essendon right now playing incredibly good football. Sando from Geelong at Adelaide.
There's a lot of similarities about the way the two teams play too.
Well, their quick ball movement and the ability to break through. So,
and contested.
Well done, Curnow. Really important half hour for the Blues here. Can't win the match, but need to be able to hold their head up. Well done, Simpson to Betts, and then Betts to Walker. Not sure what he was doing there. Doughty, and Doughty down the line. John Cocken, Tui, bouncing ball, Dygan, and runs it over. Boundary throw in. Can't fade away here.
Bruce, I watched that last stoppage really closely. Dangerfield and Thompson work closely together. They put lots of blocks on there. There's a lot of team care out there.
I reckon BT's gargling right now, Dennis. He's got Collingwood and Adelaide in Adelaide next Saturday night.
All right, that's a big one, isn't it?
Straight up, guys.
Nathan Van Berlo deals in tectonic plates.
See Dangerfield and Thompson working something out here.
Okay, we'll watch for that. Over the top, the third man up there was Portplesia, knocked it down. They scramble it forward. I think it was Dangerfield who's immediately running off the ground now. Tippett, meantime, goes to Thompson. Down towards the pocket. Back goes Bauer. Gibbs is on the break, but stops his run and just drifts back towards the middle. He's on for a short one. Now he's directing traffic. That's Gibbs. Meantime, Bauer goes around the outer side. Didn't need their help. Put it on the chest of Henderson. Armfield lights a run. The boy from Swan Districts goes to Yaron. From Swans too, has a bounce. Takes on the man Smith. Got by him, sort of, in the grasp. Gave it back to Armfield. Betts will need to do something spectacular. Well, he fell over, so did Sloan. Betts comes again, takes the ball away from Doughty. Good pressure by Carlton down there. Under pressure was Smith. Poor Pleasure out wide, and Rutten too canny to try and keep it in. Boundary throw in, Tim.
Just watching in the way the two work together. Here's the tandem here. There's Thompson moving hard through the contest. After he goes through, just look at the space that he leaves there for Dangerfield. Didn't get to the ball on that occasion, but that's what Kirky's talking about, the pair working together.
Cruiser down to Betts. And then Scotland out wide to Gibbs. To Armfield, and then Armfield short to Judd. So Judd probably the best player for the Blues, as he was, I guess, last Monday night in a losing Carlton team. So Judd sets it to full forward. Big fist from Rutten. Cruiser's had a quiet day, hooking back for a goal. So few possessions for Cruiser, no impact really, but on the board in the final term. Jacobs, who was his understudy really, I guess, at Carlton. We've had a long list of big guys. Warnock, don't forget, I reckon Warnock's got a good chance of playing in the next couple of weeks from what we've seen today. I reckon they might be keen to get Warnock back into this team.
You wouldn't think they'd play all the tall big guys together, would you?
Came out hot, but Cruiser did well.
Yeah, he did, and he was in the right spot there too for a crumbing play. Not necessarily the spot you'd expect the big ruckman to be, but his finish was good. But he's had a quiet afternoon, just 3 disposals.
Jacobs tracks it, tries to direct it down to Dangerfield. On his knees there, Robinson. Jacobs over the football again. Sloan. Looks like a centre in the NFL there, passing it up between his legs. Opportunity for Scotland. He's been good today. Judd too, as Bruce mentioned. Hooked down towards half forward. Gutsy attempt out here. Well, that was a half blow by the umpire. Comes to Yaron, and Yaron has kicked the goal.
It's coming back.
His P didn't work. Don't think so. He paid the mark, but if we listen again, it certainly didn't really go as he expected.
Do they check their P's at 3/4 time, Dennis?
I think they do. Well, certainly before the game, you'd give it a shake as the ball goes towards the outer side. Make sure it's got one as Riley takes the mark.
We had a power failure, didn't we, with the audio for the video man on Friday night.
In front, Thompson off his hands, arriving quickly, Dangerfield. Around the boundary, close to the line, Tippett walks it across.
Well, in the end, it was a right call. Doughty's mark was a mark. So, just hear it, can't you? Oh, so faint. Cruiser wins the tap. Scotland has been good. Dangerfield had that one smothered. Heavy, heavy traffic still. Robinson. Cruiser, so he's doubled his stats in this last quarter. Bouncing ball, John Cock has to fish a bit for it. Gets back. Well, he handballs to nobody really. Then on the ups, good to Van Berlo, who's been a star. To Talia. Yench, good kick. Thompson, so good. Steps inside and then races it out. She's a good player, Thompson. Oh, I know we're not saying anything, but Adelaide were dirty that he wasn't All-Australian last year. They were filthy on that. And right now, if you're picking the team, he'd be in the All-Australian team this year, wouldn't he?
No doubt.
I don't think there's a harder working midfielder in the game than Scotty Thompson. Even when he was struggling to get into the game early in the game, early this afternoon, he just willed himself into the contest, and then it just started to break for him.
So Paul Pleasure, 57 goals 3 seasons back. Has he got it? It's a lovely kick. And Adelaide are so impressive today. He's a missing link a bit, Dennis. I mean, Paul Pleasure, shoulder first minute last year, hasn't really done a whole lot this year. They're waiting for him a bit to probably kick his 3 or 4. He's been playing more in the midfield, but if they get Walker, they'll get him back in 2 weeks. If they get Tippett, Walker, Porplesia going, that's a potent forward line, isn't it?
Absolutely. Still on the phone, but he knows in his heart of hearts it's one.
Here it is. It's just a dart. Look at that under the arm there of Cruiser. Just a beautifully weighted kick. You'd love to get that sort of service.
Come September, and we assume that Adelaide will be a key player then on what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Porplesia could be the icing on the cake. He's a star when he's going, coming back after that shoulder injury. Chris Judd takes a seat. 20 possessions. Things are turning around for the Blues. A very impressive injury list. Some big names.
They're going to be the story. Dennis, they're going to be the story here in Melbourne tomorrow when all the journalists gather at the end of the day and work out where they're heading this week. It's going to be Carlton that they head to.
Is this a worse loss than Monday night for the Blues?
My word, it is, yeah.
What do you reckon the story will be in Adelaide? Michelangelo just hitting the computer. From half back, Riley sends it down towards Van Berlo. Tippett knocks it out obligingly. Dangerfield cleverly. Jenkins, well, he's off target this time, the big guy. Needed to go a bounce, and the ball comes off hands and goes out of bounds.
The questions will keep coming for Carlton because when the heat was put on today, they haven't stood up.
No, you're right. You're right, Kirky. And they're going to have to find some answers too.
So Hampson at the back. Thompson in there. And then Callanan brought down in the tackle. Hampson, Simpson, who started with 2 goals in no time. Sloane, Simpson paddles it forward. Bouncing ball, well done. Well, bit of luck for Garlett to Cruiser, and then Walker goes back to Russell's been quiet. And then Russell, that's an awful kick. Walker out wide, and that sums up the Blues a bit today. Rutten, Sloane, back to Rutten. And then Rutten, lovely kick to Dangerfield, who's been the man of the match. Crows, by the way, out wide. Dangerfield just cut off there, though. That wasn't a great kick by Dangerfield. Yarran inside. Scotland. And Curnow off a step. Thornton, who created some problems early on. Talia. Back it goes to Walker. Back to Cruiser. Goes back to Yarran. And then Yarran waiting. And then Scotland. They're just drawing a man. Curnow. Yarran's good at this. 55 metres out. Well, I say good at it. And out on the full. Just for Brett Ratton, what a week he's had. Just want to get this in. The Crows with their black armbands today. And that's with respect to little James Paul Modra, who had a very, very short life. And that's why the Crows have got the black armbands on in respect to the Modra family. No relation to Tony Modra, by the way, back in South Australia.
Mark taken by John Cock. Just goes down the line. Tippett comes on a lead, reaching over the top. Gower knocks it out of bounds.
One of the other things that's really impressed me about Adelaide has been their ability to go from attacking positions to defensive positions. Every time Carlton have broke and they look like they're actually going to find some space, the Adelaide players get back quickly in numbers and set themselves up.
Dangerfield missed it. Wright lending assistance. Thompson. Judd crashing through. Hand passes forward. Garlett. Robinson over his shoulder. Simpson held a while in the tackle. Van Berlo missed his target. Curnow did nicely out to Gibbs. Gibbs sends it down towards half forward. They're a hard crowd. An ironic cheer for Bryce Gibbs. On his knees, Thornton taken high, surely. It'll be a free kick to Simpson.
Good call. So Simpson, terrific start against the Saints, then held up for 3. Great start again today.
Yep. And he's going to get that sort of attention week in, week out. I mean, you know, there are clubs out there that now think they've unlocked the way that Carlton play.
Good kick, gives Cruiser every chance, and he takes a fine mark.
We know what this bloke's capable of. You just wonder how, for 3/4 of football, he can be completely out of the game. Completely out of the game. And get to 3/4 time, he's had 3 touches.
And I reckon with Jacobs dominating the ruck, so Warnock's going to find his way back in now. Whether they play the 3 tools or not, there is a feeling within the club they want to try the 3 tools. So
I don't think they can afford to, particularly if Murphy's going to be other side and with Grazzo out there as well.
And Hampson's been good this year kicking goals, but not much in the last week or two. So somebody, I reckon, is going to give way to Warnock at some stage in the next month to try him out as Cruiser hits the post. Hey, Kirky, Give us your rankings of the pros midfield.
Well, the 4 players in the midfield, Dangerfield, Thompson, Sloan and Van Berlo, have had 50 contested possessions between them and 23 tackles. I'd give 4 votes to Dangerfield. I'd give 3 for Van Berlo's job on Murphy early, 2 to Thompson, who's been great, and I'd sneak Sloan in for 1.
Yench goes straight up the middle. Helped on its way by Tippett. Big guy. Well, he was there for a moment or two. Judd, Jamieson, Scotland. He's tried his heart out, Scotland. Comes wide to Robinson. Still inside the centre square. Interesting kick. Thought about it. Sloan did well. Arrived and knocked it away from Etihad. Followed up and got a hand pass. Goes out to Lynch. Lynch at left half back. Taken high, I think he'll get the free kick. Bit lucky there, Lynch. Conversely, the man who was doing the tackling, Yaron, a bit unlucky.
Great spoil by Sloan there. It's great that the midfielders get back to support the defence.
Lynch to midfield. What a beautiful kick. Spotted Smith. Just held him up with a kick ever so slightly. That's a casual kick. Robinson chops it off. Goes to Jamieson, who was stationary. Back to Robinson. Robinson does nicely. Judd looks across the ground. Garland has to wait. Ball gets there in ample time. He's forward of left centre wing.
Controls it down the line. Well done, Henderson, to work. Henderson under the ball. And then Talia holds up. There's a bit of Presti Giacomo about Talia. I reckon he's got a long way to go to be like Presti, but he doesn't like possessions, but he doesn't give many away so far. Very early on, I know. Garlett to full forward. Dowdy gets across. Back to Smith. Back to Dowdy. He's not worried about that miss now, is he, Dowdy? But it could have been a moment. Garlett sitting and waiting. Still with Garlett, and then looks up and kicks the ball back inside, and Jacobs cuts it off. Well done, Jacobs. That was clever. Van Berlo to Thompson, drills it to half forward, and a win for Jamieson against Dangerfield down the line, and the mark taken by Etihad.
Been one of Carlton's best, Jamieson, today.
Etihad very close to the boundary line. Henderson outnumbered, falls in front. Cleared out of there by Smith. Judd. The arm's almost straight then, Timmy.
They almost got up there, Dennis. Yep.
You could hear them creak from here, but
had 4 quarters to loosen them up.
Well, it hasn't been for want of trying from the champ. Sends it back inside. Oh, good mark taken in front by Yench. I like him. He's got dash. He's got a very strong kick.
He's quick too. Almost ran Garlett down during that third quarter.
He's the total package. Why does he only get a game occasionally?
I think he's set now, Den.
Is he? Okay.
They're just working out where to play him for a while, I think.
Rutten short to Dowdy. So Dowdy deep in his own defensive area. Jenkins. And what about the pickups of Jacobs and Jenkins? Just go to Jay in the phone book and suddenly you've got 2 big guys.
Well, apparently they got very excited about the prospects of getting hold of him last year. So Callanan to full forward. A bash and a crash, and there's a free kick. So the advantage to Petrenko, and then, well, the cake's got plenty of icing on it already. I'm not sure if there's any more room, but it's there.
Bruce, the cake is oozing icing. How about this? It's out to 50 points now. I think a lot of people made a case for Adelaide coming in. Not many would have suggested they could win by over 50. Well, that's right on the money now, 50 points, and it could get out to 10 goals.
What about poor old Port Adelaide? They have a huge win yesterday. They're off the back page, the front page, and the middle page, aren't they?
Yeah.
Bash and crash. We've seen so much of it today, Tim.
Yeah, and you're a fair dinkum good side when you can win on the road and beat a good team or a finals aspirant by 50 points. I mean, they beat the Cats by 50 points last week as well, so they're in red-hot form, the Crows.
Well, they've beaten the Swans in Sydney, Geelong at home, and now Carlton away, and they hadn't won a game in Melbourne for 3 seasons, so it's been a massive 3 weeks. And, gee, the old truck's playing a game, isn't he?
That's right.
He's had the perfect matchups today, though. Cruiser's been down there. Henderson, I mean, neither of them are really quick players. He likes that type of body play.
I saw Rutten in the supermarket this week with one of his children. He had more of a handful there than he's had today, I reckon.
I tell you what, too, he bullied Tom Hawkins last week.
He's physical, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a big truck. So Yench short to Petrenko.
Right there, Chris.
2 goals to Petrenko. Outside the 50, Tippett juggles the mark. Long time coming, but He's always presented. You've got to hand that to him this afternoon. He hasn't stopped leading. Done a bit of rucking as well, just to give Jacobs a break. Jenkins occasionally on the ball, but Jacobs has done the bulk of it. He is very good at getting the arms straight. Almost looks artificial sometimes, doesn't it? Almost regimented the way the arms go up, but a basketball background as well. They're going for a rebound. That's not going to rebound, that's in the crowd.
So, Tim, think about it. It's one of those days, is it... My feeling is more about Adelaide winning than Carlton losing today. I mean, think about this to talk about in a moment, but is the big story how good Adelaide are, or that Carlton's been unravelled twice in 6 days? So which do you think is... I mean, Murphy's injury is another massive thing, but often in a match like this, it's the defeat that's bigger than the win. But I've got a feeling the win's just as big today. So what do you think, Tim? Is it the victor today that creates more attention, or the loser today?
Well, I think we're talking about two different states here. In Adelaide, they're going to be talking about the Adelaide Crows. Here in Melbourne, the story's going to be about Carlton being unravelled in twice in the space of a week.
Adelaide have been so good. Dangerfield building through. One thing, Dennis, for sure, Carlton won't be favourite for the flag after tonight.
No, Armfield goes out towards half-back right. Tui gets it from Millard. Oh, good stretch by Robinson. Takes the mark. Clock is down to just over 6 minutes now. Looks inside. Does Robinson. Comes to Walker. Walker plays on. Flicks it across to Curnow. Curno's kick not good. Under the chest of Vince. He's played well when it counted. Before half-time had 3 goals. Goes short to Jenkins. Well, pace is required in September. You get those fine days, warm days. Tippett comes again. Carlton have got speed, but at times they look brittle, and today has been one of those days. They look very brittle.
I can't believe this is the same Adelaide Crows side that we saw lose to Hawthorn at the MCG early in the... I came away from that game thinking that they weren't going to be a top 8 side. That was round 3.
Yep. I think I said on air they won't make the 8. Can you get that one back then?
Oh, well, Bruce.
Yeah, well, believers
change week to week, don't they? Now, they've kicked 13 of the last 16, Adelaide. That puts the game in context a little more. We had a fight in the first quarter. Man on the mark, may have jumped over, doesn't matter. Tippett has found range. He's got 2 and a broad smile.
Well, Carlton are out to $7, I've just been told, for the flag. I think that's under the odds. This has been... just a shellacking since quarter time. So what were we? 5 goals to 4 at quarter time. So it's 3 goals to 14 since quarter time.
You could make a better book than any of those guys. What do you think?
Oh, that'd be about $12 right now. Adelaide should be 7. So look at that, Bickley on the right and Cammarelli in the middle there.
It's a tough... I mean, they get the bye, but those 3 games are tough.
They had 5 games in a row. They had Sydney away, Geelong, Carlton away, Collingwood and Fremantle. And people were saying they can win 1 of the 5, they'll be happy, or 2 of the 5. Well, they've won 3. By the way, Mark Bickley, we'll speak about him in 1 sec. Walker to fall forward, belted away, Dangerfield yet again. Well, here's a segue. Bickley was the guy that played Dangerfield into the middle. He brought him into the midfield for the last 6 games last year. And was a precursor of what's happened this season.
Well, they have to do everything they can to keep him too, Macca. Is the feeling that he will re-sign at Adelaide?
Mark Rasciuto said 95% sure. I'll back Rue in there. He knows them very well.
Scotland, left half back, having seen Fremantle yesterday. Would like Adelaide against them, I think, for the moment. Adelaide only have to go and kick probably 9 goals and they'll win. There's an opportunity for Walker. That's a bit harsh, but they were very disappointing yesterday as the ball goes down towards the pocket. Rutten finessing. Opportunity for Hampson. That's a long way down for the big fella. Oh, Riley taken front on.
Just with Collingwood next week for the Crows. No Swan, no Reid. It's a beautiful time for Adelaide to be playing Collingwood as well.
And these things happen when you have a good run and have success.
Yeah, they do.
Things just fall in and you look back over the season and you say, well, and you're surprised, I think, just how well the run was for you. But, of course, they got nothing given to them this afternoon and certainly not last week either. Well, Bartel and Scarlett being out didn't hurt, but they wouldn't have made the difference. It was about attitude last week. Here's Rutten, former All-Australian. What a good player he's been. Lynch comes across the ground. And the mark will be taken by Henderson. No run out of defence for Carlton today. Dygan still coming to terms with his fitness. Yaron, of course, has been injured as well. Came on, started in defence, but moved to the forward line. Literally muscled in that direction by Petrenko. And now Jensch. Jensch spots Van Berlo. It was a captain's lead. It was bogging down, so Van Berlo moved himself. Back to Henderson. Just adding insult to injury.
Carlton have got Melbourne next week, Tim, on Sunday at the MCG.
That'll probably do it. That'll get you back playing okay.
I've been watching the interchange pretty closely today. There's been a flurry of activity for Adelaide. They're up to over 160 rotations. And looking at their averages, they're 12 more than any team in the AFL.
It's a dangerous kick inside. I say dangerous kick. They're leading by 117 to 55. Nothing's dangerous right now, is it, out wide? Kirky, you were in Adelaide last week for Geelong, were you?
Yeah, that's right, Bruce.
Better again today or about the same?
Yeah, no, better again today. They looked even slicker today, I think.
Where do you rate their midfield overall with the big midfields in the competition? Up there with everybody or not?
Yeah, at the moment, definitely up the top. They've got speed, they've got the hit inside, and they've got the endurance and resilience to go with it.
So Jenkins gets on the end of Van Berlo. God, he's been good, Van Berlo, hasn't he? And then Jenkins short, and Tippett's having a little picnic at the end of the day. It's like he spread out the rug at the end of the day, and he's just enjoying himself and just having a smorgasbord.
That kicking was magnificent. They didn't go outside the corridor then. They just zigzagged through the middle of the ground. They opened up the space. They're all on the same page, these Adelaide Crows players, and that's one of the remarkable things. He's brought a whole new different game plan to Adelaide, but to get that inside the mind so quickly, I mean, it says a lot for his and his coaching staff's ability to be able to teach.
A bit tough on poor old Jamison, this.
Yeah. He's going to finish maybe with 3. He's kicked well in this quarter, Tippett. They'd kicked 100 points without Tippett kicking a goal today, and of course Walker not there, so he misses that one. So a couple of goals in the last quarter.
You know, Carlton's problems aren't just in their midfield at the moment with the injuries to Carazzo and Murphy. I mean, on what we've seen today, they don't have a key position forward, and down back they're brittle as well.
Jared Waite out today, of course, probably back next week.
Yeah, the run isn't there, and they had the run last season. Terrific by Jacobs. Over the top, clutching it. I just get the feeling watching Cruiser, and I admire Cruiser a lot, but I think he must have a very high opinion of Jacobs. There goes the ball from Thompson, going back in defence. Bauer ricochets across towards Lynch, somehow got free. Tippett is feeling it now. Tippett, Bacon goal square, snaps his third. I just say that, Tim, because he's shown a lot of respect for Jacobs today, and obviously would have trained against him. And I think coming in, I just sensed
too much respect, you think?
Well, a lot of respect,
yeah.
You know, and maybe that's hampered his own game.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting point because, you know, if I looked at Marriage last night and on face value in terms of natural ability, you would think that he has more natural ability than Ivan Marriage, but he hasn't been able to get anywhere near the numbers that Marriage is getting. So there's something wrong with his positioning around the ground. Sanderson really happy with what he's been able to produce and what he's soon produced this afternoon.
So Adelaide just marching on. So since quarter time, they've kicked 15 goals to 3. Jacobs' tapping has been brilliant. Dangerfield, well, what a game he's played. What's his stats, Dangerfield?
35 now, just a lazy 35.
Well, he had
19 of them contested too.
He had 39 3 weeks ago, Dangerfield. So he's in Brownlow form, isn't he?
He's unstoppable at the moment. It's not as if nobody knows about him and nobody's putting some time and attention into him either. I mean, he's going out there with all that pressure and all the opposition with plans to actually stop him, and he's just running through the lot.
That's the ideal thing, though, with he and Thompson. They're so hard to tag out of a game because of the way they play.
Yep. So on the up, Riley, what a performance. Adelaide are back in the big time. They're on centre stage now. Let's go down to Brett Kirk with Patrick Dangerfield, who, well, didn't he lead from the front today? Kirky?
Sure did, Bruce. Best on ground, Patrick Dangerfield. Patrick, you look like you're enjoying your footy, mate.
Yeah, certainly am at the moment. With the footy that we're playing, the attacking style, it's pretty easy to enjoy.
And I was watching the stoppages pretty closely. You and Scotty Thompson seem to work closely together.
Yeah, we've done a huge amount of work, and VB as well, over the pre-season in blocking for each other and trying to help each other out around the stoppages, because you can't just rely on one person, and I think the spread that we had today was really good.
And can you talk us through the influence that Brent Sanders has had on the footy club since he's been here?
Yeah, it's been enormous. Just the attacking game plan that he's brought to us. The mindset, I suppose, that we approach games in, we're very relaxed, but then we know when to switch on as well. And I think that's what's helping with our performance at the moment. We're not getting too overawed by the situation. We're just taking it slowly and approaching each game as it comes.
You're playing some great football. Go and enjoy it.
Thank you.
This has been a Fox Footy presentation for Fox Sports.